Um, hey, sorry about that, guys. Had a few technical difficulties, so sorry. It was a really great, even if you just saw the first part of that conversation, super informative. He had some really great reflections on his time at the in the shelter and some things that you know he was grateful for and the ways in which the Lord was working in his own life. I hope you caught the piece about worthiness. Super powerful for him about what you know his encounter with God and in prison did for his own establishment. So we're gonna keep plowing through here some more interviews. So Ryan, you can come sit at the thing. I'm gonna put my hood up, not because I want to hide my face, but my ears are getting cold. The sun is still almost up. It will pick it up pretty easy. So you don't have to sit forward if you don't want.
It's my sound guy instinct.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. I didn't think about that. Well, if you were here earlier, people that were like way across there, we could pick them up clear.
Really?
Because I was like, somebody's like, hey, did you know that guy who thought nobody could hear him? We could hear every word.
Oops.
I was like, okay, sorry.
Oops.
So yeah, introduce yourself. Tell us
Yeah.
what you do here.
I'm Ryan Baker. I'm the assistant shelter director here at Refuge of Hope, and I get to spend my days with these fine gentlemen and help them find hope.
Yeah. He's a resident hope dealer.
Hope dealer. That's right.
Yeah. So just want to. So Ryan's been at the refuge for like roughly 6 months.
7 months now.
7 months. Okay.
Stacking them up.
That's right. It goes fast. Hey, pretty soon you'll be at 18 years.
That's right. Can't
Um,
wait.
yeah, exactly. But just if you could do a little bit, talk to us a little bit about like, um, one, like why you love working at the Refuge of Hope and feel so called to this work, and then if you could share a little bit about like, yeah, these are places where I see God is kind of transforming my own life through my work here at the refuge.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I found this job by my wife because that's how God works. So you know, because I was working with chemicals before I did this. But I mean, I have some serving background. I do sober recovery at my church. I do prison ministry work. So had a taste for it. But I was not happy at my last job, and God heard that, and God put the ad for the position on Facebook, and put it right across my wife's face, and
Mm-hmm.
she was like, "You should apply for this." And of course, I heard you telling, talking to Clay, well, I'm not qualified. I don't have the qualifications. I probably shouldn't do it.
Yeah,
And of course, she was like, "No, you need to do it. This is your job. God
yeah,
said it is. I know." And I'm like,
yeah,
"No,
yeah.
I'm not qualified. I'm just a warehouse guy. I run
Yeah.
forklifts."
Do you remember calling? Like, somebody's like, I don't even know if I'm like kind of guy that makes
Yeah.
sense here.
Yeah. And I was like, "Well, I want to try it because I do have a servant's heart. I love helping people."
Yeah,
And I was like, "Well, I'm gonna try it." And then I remember I did the tour with Clay, and,
Yeah.
and I left there going, "Man, if I don't get this job, like, at least I know this place now. Like, I know it's here. That's super cool."
yeah,
And then you called me and was like, "All right, second round, the gauntlet.
yeah.
The gauntlet. You're gonna talk to
It's funny.
7 different directors." And I was like, "I'm sorry, what?"
Yeah. And Clay, when he was done, he was like, oh, he's the guy. He's, when Clay was done, he knew right away. He was like, oh yeah, he's totally perfect. He's gonna be great.
Yeah. But
Um,
it's so funny because you're the last one I speak to during the interview process. And when we got done, I knew I had it,
Yeah.
even though you didn't tell me.
yeah,
So my wife Rita, she knew too, and like you're like, well, if we're gonna hire you, we'll call you and we'll give you over the weekend. Me and the wife already talked. Like I already knew like what I was gonna say. Like you were an opportunity, I was gonna accept the moment you said it.
Yeah.
It was already I already knew.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah. So uh, things here that help strengthen me and stuff like that. You're saying, I've always believed in God and Jesus Christ. You can't sway me in that. I've seen too much. I've felt too much. I've seen angels. I've seen demons. Literally, I've seen those things because God has given me sight for a lot of those things.
Yeah.
I have the gift of empathy. I can feel things. Like
Mhm.
I can't be swayed. But it's funny because the sub things, grace, mercy, compassion,
Yeah.
is all things we have to work on.
Yeah.
And and God also loves accountability.
Mhm.
So I think that's where I'm at here is like I'm learning that balance of grace and accountability.
Yeah.
Because we have rules here that we try to be firm on, but at the same time, because of this place, we have the room for grace.
Yeah.
If someone comes in, half hour late, even though we said it's 10 o'clock, we have the grace to go. Okay, we're gonna let you stay, even though you're a half hour late. We have
Yeah.
the grace to go. Tell me the story. Tell me why you're late. Oh man, I was running late. I missed the bus. I had to watch the bus go down the street without me.
Yeah.
Okay, I got grace for that.
Yeah.
Because God has grace for our imperfections. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a balance of trying to give people grace and hold them accountable because we have to be accountable for what we do, and what
Yeah.
we say. And we're pretty strict about violence. Like there's not much grace on that, but there's grace for like, I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated with my situation. I lashed out. Okay, brother, I can understand that. I've been
Yeah.
angry too.
Yeah.
So be able to go, all right, listen, I'm not going to kick you out because you're frustrated. I understand. Like none of the doors are open yet for you.
Yeah.
And I want to show you mercy and grace.
Yeah. And how do you get to the place
Yeah.
to be like, yeah, we got to deal with that, but this isn't the way. You
Yeah.
know.
But don't get me wrong. And I'm Clay's watching. He's probably gonna laugh at this. Like, there's been a couple guys here that they've gotten way under my skin. My fists are a little clenched, and I'm like, oh Lord, oh good Lord, help me.
Yeah,
Help
yeah,
me
yeah.
show them grace.
Yeah.
You've been doing this way longer than me, so I know you
Yeah,
can
we've
relate
all.
to that. But
Yeah.
then that shows our character defects
Yeah.
because we are.
It's interesting when you say that.
Yeah.
I always know like the people that I also like struggled the most with were also people that were formational because I knew that I would act out of my like flesh and say things that weren't of my
Brother.
character,
Brother, yes.
say things that I just would leave here just feeling sick about. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna have to go back, even though like everything in me wants to just be like, hey, I was right. I knew this about you, but like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go back and apologize because that actually was I went too far, and like those were always the best conversations I had with those clients that were difficult. I always made the most ground up with them, where they're like, oh, he doesn't think he's just gonna like because he's in the position to make that decision or is just gonna like that's gonna be it. He's gonna be like, yeah, if he doesn't treat me right, he's gonna come and say like, hey, that was too much.
And that's the thing we have to remember too is there's a difference between conviction and condemnation. Conviction comes from God. So like when you do something, you're like, oh man, I shouldn't have done that. That's God. But condemnation is like you did that and you're a horrible person. You're going to hell. Like that's the enemy.
Yeah.
And I think it's something we have to have discernment here. We have to have discernment like, okay, is this God or the enemy trying to provoke me and rile me up?
Yeah.
Because like God has always come to me and given me conviction immediately. Like, if I say something wrong, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yep.
So like I'm and I have doubts sometimes. Like, well, did I act on His word?
Yep.
But we're human. Like, there's only two perfect beings, and that's Jesus Christ and God, and we have to have allowance in the fact that we ain't them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people. I'm sure I talked about this. A lot of people come by us like, you guys ain't really Christians. You kicked us out, or you did X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, first and foremost, we're human, but secondly, you're obviously projecting onto us because you have yet to have the ability to have accountability for yourself.
Yeah.
We will all day because like a lot of people here, I've come to them like you. I said like, listen, I'm sorry that I had to do this thing, and I'm sorry that I didn't go about it a better way. But the end result was that you're going to have to go, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry that I didn't give you the love and compassion you deserve.
Yeah, it's like the decision doesn't change.
Yeah.
The ways in which I would have gone about it would have been different, and I'll own my kind of role in that.
Yeah.
Just you see a lot of people come in, you see a lot of issues. Like, what are the things like if you were gonna kind of describe like, hey, here are kind of the three main things guys coming into the shelter are in need of, or areas that they're, where they're struggling.
Driver's license. These guys want to have their independence in that way, but they don't have the money. And that's the big thing in driver's license. I hear that all the time.
Just like they want to get their driver's license,
Yeah.
but they have fines or
Yes.
record or.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
That's
Interesting.
probably the biggest one. And then secondly is, they want to be able to see their kids. They want to have a place that they can take their kids and love on their kids.
Yeah.
And
Talk a little bit more about that because I feel like sometimes yeah, it's one of the humanity pieces that gets stripped
Sure.
away as that like, yeah, they're whatever, put in whatever your stereotype is, an addict, have their mental health issues, cases, but it's like, yeah, they're also like somebody's son. A lot of times they're somebody's dad,
Yeah.
And how that, seeing them in those desires, how that changes.
Well, I mean, I'll go a little deeper in this. So, in Luke 15, it talks about the prodigal son and the lost lamb.
Yeah.
And that's what these guys are. These are the lost lambs. These are the prodigal sons. Like, these are the people that Jesus Christ would go and get.
Yeah.
These are the people that society looks down on because they saw one drunk and one addict homeless. They
Yeah.
automatically assume that's the whole clan.
Yeah.
That's not it. Like, I mean, I would say, like, maybe 20%, 25% of these guys have an addiction issue that they're working on. The rest are people that lost their job.
Yeah.
They're elderly. They can't afford a place.
Yep.
They're veterans that the system may or may not have failed. I don't want to go down that route.
Yeah.
But, a bulk of these people are just bad luck. Like, me and you are one paycheck away from living in here.
Yeah.
Because the way the economy is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The way things are expensive.
Yeah.
But these guys are human beings. They're children of God. And
Go ahead.
I know, brother. I'll stay here for
yeah,
half hour. if you want me to.
yeah.
They are His children.
Yep.
And we all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of the Lord.
Yep.
Just because that person may be addicted to meth, well, maybe I have lustful eyes. It's all sin is what keeps us away from God. So anything, and people need to stop condemning these people.
So the last gentleman that was here, I really hope we caught that on the video because it was gold. But it came up earlier. I'd interviewed a board member. He came back at like, I don't know, it was like 4:15.
Yeah.
Like, who's pulling up here at 4:15? And he's like, hey, tell me, like, what is the ultimate goal? Like, I've been thinking about, like, if the refuge, and I was like, oh, like, if you just asked me to boil it down, it'd be like that when somebody leaves here, the thing that differentiates a lot of times whether they're going to make it or not is, do they understand their worthiness?
Come on.
Their sonship, like that relationship, because the moment they begin to be like, and the gentleman, is it Lamar who was sitting here?
Just now?
Yeah.
LeVar.
Yeah. He even said, he's like, yeah, the moment I was able to like view myself differently, changed. I could make goals for myself. I could say like I'm, and I just feel like that's the moment, what causes that change for them is different a lot of times. But like if somebody arrives at the like, oh, like I am somebody, like I'm somebody's dad, I'm somebody's son, I'm somebody, you can see the change in like purpose and investment.
And I think that's what I'm really trying to bring to the table here in my tenure here is like, I want these guys to know their worth, because the world says a man should swallow their emotions, just suck it up and power through. That's not what God calls to do. God calls to acknowledge things and to overcome things.
Oh, hey, Caden. Good morning. Happy day off of school, buddy.
Enjoy it.
Yeah, enjoy it. I will see you later. But yeah.
But like, the way the world tells us we need to be is not how God wants it to be.
Yeah.
And we are too hyper focused on what the world wants. We're trying to keep up with the Rockefellers, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, no, we need to keep up with the Word of God. I mean, one of the best people in the Bible is John the Baptist, and he spent 25 years in the desert eating locusts and honey, wearing camel's fur.
Yeah.
For one moment. Like, come on, like.
Yeah.
John the Baptist was homeless. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He did one of the most powerful things. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So like, yeah, we have to end the mindset of homelessness equals addiction and negativity, and like it's not it. Like it's just like I said, we're one paycheck away.
Yeah, it's a moment.
Yeah.
It's not. Well, that's why I say it is important. Like, when I do talks in the community, I was like, no one ever refers to me as like, oh, Scott, he's a housed person.
Yeah.
So the idea that we like talk about, so they've moved some of that terminology to people experiencing homelessness.
Yeah, right.
Whether it's like, oh, their housing situation is a kind of a defining piece of who they are, when it's really probably has very little to do. It's their circumstance, but it has nothing to do with what their value, who they are, kind of on the inside. So
yeah, well, I mean, I was talking to a gentleman yesterday, and a lot of people, especially when they're younger, they go out in the world and they don't quite get it right, so they have to go back home.
Yeah.
You know, gotta go back to mom and dad and kind of reset. And I told him, like, refuge is a public reset. It's
Yeah.
a public place where, like, all right, I don't have a mom, dad to go back to.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
come here, get your bearings, and go try it again. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? And that's what we are. You know,
Yeah.
people want to equate it to like a homeless prison camp. It's like, you guys have got to stop with that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, they got to be back by 9:30. They got to sleep and, you know,
Yeah.
stay here. But it's like, if you don't sleep here, you're not using the bed.
Right.
The bed needs to go to sleep.
And also, like, people don't like, in some ways, like, being here, like, and this, I mean, this is a little bit of a soapboxy issue, but
Go ahead. Come
it
on.
also is just a place because, like, the discipline that's needed to just function, a lot of them, they haven't gotten up at a regular time.
Yeah.
They, if we didn't have a curfew, they wouldn't come back at night and get in the rhythm of, like, hey, if you're going to be productive, you got to go to bed at a decent hour, you got to get up at a decent hour.
Right.
You know, if you just live without kind of like any purpose or, you know, direction, it's like, yeah, you just can keep doing what you've done.
Yeah.
You know, and that's not, we're not really after, like, hey, keep doing what you've done.
Right. Try something new. See if
You
it
know,
works.
it's like, yeah, we want to speak life into you, and then we
Yep.
want to give you tools to be like,
Yep.
yeah, get up, do something with purpose, like,
Yeah.
make your bed, clean a area of the shelter.
Yep.
You know, serve. Yep. Yeah, we'll be here till 3. All right. We started at 3 o'clock yesterday.
So 24
24
hours.
hours. It's a live feed to Facebook and YouTube. All right. All right.
But yeah, it's, you know, it's, like you said, it's holding people accountable. Like, listen,
Yeah.
what you've been doing is not working. Let's try this now.
Yeah.
So let's wake up. Let's get you out. You know, let's get you some job applications.
Yeah.
And then and some people find out, like, I can't work. You know, I need
Yeah.
Social Security. Okay, well, that's the next step. Let's go talk to them and see if we can get you on
Yeah.
disability or something. You know.
Awesome.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Thanks.
but you know, it's funny, my tenure here. Like, I saw Clay mention, like, how God's been dropping people in our laps. Like, Skyboard Recovery just showed up.
Yeah.
Ironclad Dads just showed up. Brand New just showed up. Like, all these places that have these servants' heart to want to help these guys
Yeah.
have shown up lately.
Yeah.
Like, God's focus is on this ministry. Like,
Yeah.
he has seen us very clear.
Yeah.
He's delivering the goods. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And praise be to him and his
Yeah.
mercy and grace. You know.
Yeah. Thanks so much for taking some time. I know you probably have people needing a lot of
No,
stuff
that's
from
good.
you.
Yeah, I mean, I'll pie back later. I brought my upright bass.
Yeah,
So I
nice.
think me and Banjo's gonna try to get together. A little bit
All
later and do
right,
something,
that's
so,
nice.
yeah.
Also, just, you know, have been saying this to people, but it's true, and so I'm not saying it as a performative thing, but just to be like, you know, one thing that's been really cool in having conversations with staff people is, like, you know, seeing how, like, on mission people that are here in service roles are, and, you know, from, like, I don't know, the 3rd week you were at the refuge. Are you okay, John? Oh, you're just looking at that. Since the 3rd week you were at the refuge, you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be here. Like, this is,
Oh, yeah, no,
I was
I'm not
built.
going anywhere.
I was built to do this. This is where, you know, and that's such a, like, consistent theme for people. Like, when they come here and they're in service, they're just like on mission. They're like, yep, I'm here. This is what I'm gonna do. And you've been such a great fit, and,
I'm
you
glad
know,
to be here, and I appreciate
love
the chance to
your
serve.
heart for the people, and shines through with how people interact.
It's like we said earlier, you know, sometimes I'm human. My human comes out, and I have to repent for that.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm pretty sure these guys know that I love them.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want the best for them. And like I said, unfortunately, I have to be the jerk and hold them accountable sometimes. I feel bad about that. But yeah, most of these guys know that my door is always open. Like,
Yeah.
I love mornings, even though they're chaotic, because I get to see them
See
first thing in the
everybody.
morning.
Yep,
And
that's
it's
right.
Like, but when I was watching Clay, it was, half the time it was just banjo in there. Like, all right, so what are we gonna play?
Yeah.
Let's discuss that later. You know.
Yeah, that's
So,
awesome. Cool. So yeah, so Ryan's gonna be back later with banjo, and hopefully Steve, if he'll play, we'll have a little trio.
Yeah, I shook him. I was like, hey, buddy, we gotta play.
All right, thanks, Ryan.
Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
your time, man.
Anything, holler at us.
Yep, we will. We'll be hollering at some point soon. So, all right, Ed, we're just clicking away through the morning. The sun is up. Yeah,
I'm still rapping though.
we're not rapping any longer. Awesome. That's from Larry Gill. Oh,
Good news.
that's awesome. So I don't know if she told you, there's been several people who were former residents who've been in the chat being like, hey, I was there in
Good.
2014.
Yeah.
I'm driving truck and following all across. So it's been fun. So yeah, hey Larry, reach out to somebody. You can send an email to me or anybody really. We'd love to connect. We, want to keep telling stories like yours of people that use our services, make it out, go from there. So yeah, why don't you introduce yourself, Ed?
I'm Ed Laubacher. I've been on the board since 2012, and I'm currently the board chair.
Yeah, 2012. That's wild.
Yeah,
Um,
long time ago.
So yeah, so Ed is the board chair. Nobody knows what that means, Ed. So as somebody who's literally spent the last 13 years in some capacity, like help people understand, like, yeah, what is your role? Why do you think? And I mean, I have, I'm sure I would echo them, but why is it so important to have a board that's engaged and mission driven?
All right, so being on the board, I first came down to Refuge just volunteering, and then I was asked, if I wanted to be part of the board of directors. And what we are we are just a bunch of people who are from the community, all different professions, and we're just there to help guide the entire organization and make sure we stay true to what we think our mission for Refuge of Hope is. And I remember some of those people who had served before me that are just like icons for us here at Refuge.
Yep. Yeah.
And they just always claimed that we just had to keep in mind that we were serving the Lord while doing this.
Yep.
And that was
Yep.
one of those things. We just got to make sure that we were in His will, and so that was something that was always one of the biggest
Yeah.
themes, I guess, that we always wanted to
Yep.
keep. And we knew that our main two missions were to feed the many people and to house men. And we've added a few things here and there as Refuge has gotten bigger and bigger. And we're just kind of a board that is active. We like to serve and we like to be involved in it, but we're just kind of there to let them bounce ideas off of us.
Yeah, I would say, I've been around here more involved with the board in the last 2 years than before, but really from my seat, what's so like two things that kind of stand out for me where I'm like, man, this is unique in talking with other people that deal with boards is one, like to have a board that's kind of united in their desire to be like, hey, we're really here to just support the work you guys are doing. And, we're not trying to get in your way. We obviously want to provide wise counsel, but you guys are the experts. Tell us what we should be considering. And then that playing out and also being so like, hey, where are we going? What's the strategy? Where's our North Star? How are we getting there? Following up on that, because if you don't, it feels like you can really get into that, like, hey, we're chasing this and then we're chasing that.
The whole mission creep and you start going different directions.
Yep. Yeah. And I feel like our board's been like so good about like, hey, this is who we are. Come up with a plan. Let's approve a big plan, and then let's execute.
Well, so much of that was that strategic plan that we
For sure
orchestrated, and I know that we will probably start planning to do the next round.
Yeah, we
right?
will.
Because it really just kind of lays the pathway for where
we're
we
headed.
think the Lord is taking us.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and that's it. In some ways, like having been here for 16 hours.
Only 16 hours.
You just get to hear things like I'm there every day, so you feel like I kind of didn't assume that there wasn't going to be much that I wasn't going to know when I sat down with people to interview them, but what you kind of learn is like, man, there are these stories that just are like built into people's stories, like that work here that you think like, man, there just are so few places that you could work. Lakeisha was here. Her and I were talking about her experience, and she was basically like, yeah, like I was a homeless mom with kids.
Oh my goodness.
You know, here I am, you know, the refuge, you know, in some ways, like having a job that hired me that could provide for me and my. She's like that brought me not only some stability, but also like connection with the Lord, and you know, my faith journey and relationship is like totally, you know, transformed, impacted by being able to work here. And then Manny shared, this is the best story, and I'll keep sharing it because he showed up as, you know, left prison, was like super, you know, kind of connected with his relationship with God and Jesus at that point, and got out of prison and didn't know where to go. He was here, and so he showed up at the front door at the refuge, at the refuge building. He's like, I don't even remember the person's name, but I walked in the front door and Sanchez, I'm from God. And he's like, the person behind the desk, they looked at me like I was totally nuts, which is like, it's exactly how they should have looked at me. But he's like, yeah, here in 2025. He's like, I don't even know why I said that to her. Like, it just came out in here 2025. He's like, yeah, every day I walk into the Refuge of Hope, I think I'm Manny Sanchez on a mission from God. And it's like, oh man, when he said it to me, it just like chilled me all the way. I'm like, whoa, Manny, that's like so powerful. So just like a cool thing to share. The other thing I've been asking people, especially you've been around since 2012 serving meals, and you know, all of us, me, number one offender. You know, when I came down here to start serving and working, I was like, oh, you know, I'm gonna really impact these people and I'm gonna change their lives. And you know, and then it took like 3 weeks. It was like, oh wow, this is like a two-way street that's happening here. Talk a little bit about, for you, only because we've had parts of this conversation, but like, what are the ways in which like just being here, serving, changed you? Not like, you know, obviously you've had impact on lots of people, but how has that impact like turned on you?
It was minor, the impact I've had on them, because there's so many hundreds of other people that do that already. But the impact on me is, you know, I remember coming down and serving in that old, you know, couple buildings ago. But you know, then I started bringing some of my children. And, you know, at first my daughters would come down with me, and I know that that's impacted them. They still have talked about it occasionally, and just, you know, having the opportunity to see how a lot of other people live and how fortunate we are, and that it's not ours. Everything we have is not ours, right? We're supposed to be using that to help other people, and that's one of those, you know, things that, you know, I think about every time I come down and serve. And you know, lately here, when I come to serve, you know, I get to often do the devotionals before the prayer. And one thing I always notice is I always take time. Hey, anybody got any prayer requests or praises? And just to hear how they take care of each other, all the people that are here.
And how they're like, I always have loved. Whenever I would do it more regularly, I always was. One of the things I was doing was like, hey, give me the prayer request. And like, they're not shy. There's always 15 prayer requests or 10 prayer requests of like, hey, like pray for my kids. They're going through something, or, you know, just like kind of like have this vulnerability that I'm like, like if we do that in most settings in a normal church, you get like 3 people who are like, hey, you're like kind of embarrassed to ask for this, but we're here. They're just like, hey, I need help.
Yeah. But also so many of them pray for bigger than that. Let's pray for everybody that's struggling with mental illness or that's homeless. And it's those universal. They see the needs that
everyone has.
That everyone has, and that people all around them have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and that's been like one of the kind of cool things about with the City Gate. We talked to an organization from Long Beach that's doing similar type work. Last night we talked with their CEO, and then a little bit later we talked with the CEO of the City Gate network, having a conversation about like, you know, the cool thing about this whole conversation is like we get, you know, we know what God's doing just in our little space here, and you know, which is awesome. We're totally blown away. Like trying to be faithful and, really focus on the work. And then it was fun to hear like, oh, wow, like he did this really crazy thing in Long Beach and
Happening there
the
too,
church stepped in and like did something crazy in like 5 days. And God's like, oh, you need transitional youth housing? Cool. Here's all the money you need. And in a week, you're going to be able to go to your board and say like, hey, we have the money. We're going to do transitional age youth. We don't even need to like do a campaign. God's just going to provide through these 2 conversations that Flitter orchestrated. And then from the city gate, just saying like, hey, like, it's crazy that all the like conversations across the country that, people are really encountering, just really like vulnerability and people just willing to, before you got here, maybe you were here already, that Lamar was sitting here.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, what for you? Like, what's the thing that made you seek something different? And he's like, first time I thought it was worth something, when I was in jail, it was like the first time I was like, yeah, I'm somebody and I'm a child of God and, I matter, I'm worthy, I deserve something better. And he's like, changes everything, changes how I think about life, how I make goals. And I'm just like, yeah, that's, that is the marker.
That's the hope. Right?
Yeah.
That we're trying to share.
Yeah, it is. And so then Ryan kind of like touched on the same thing. And I'm like, it's so weird. That's like the 4th conversation, so that'll be the interesting part, unpacking all this later. It's like, man, what are the themes that God kind of brought forward? And, what do we do with those things now as people have shared them with us? And,
Well, it certainly got to give you motivation to just continue on. We are doing the work that we're called to do.
Yeah. And,
right.
Everyone that's shared, it's always been, we've all, said like, yeah, hey, like people are going to sit down here and tell whatever. I'm the person sitting here. I do the least amount of client care in a day of anybody who works here. But when they say that, like, oh, the refuge, it's like, nobody that works here assumes that they did it. All of this is just like a reflection of like, hey, like God is doing like really cool work here. We feel like honored to be able to participate in that with him. But when people say like, hey, refuge did this, is like, you just insert like God did this,
right?
And we get to be, sometimes we get to participate, sometimes we watch from a distance, but
be a pencil in God's hand, right?
That's right. Yeah,
help write beautiful stories.
Yeah, and it's been cool to see the people that would come and sit down and didn't really know, like even Lamar was like, what are you even doing? Like, I don't understand this. Like, you're just gonna sit out here and talk to people. Then he sat down and I'm like, yeah, I'd like about 50 people like you to sit here. And then this morning we had all these people chatting in the comments, former clients. You're just like, what? You didn't expect God to do that. Just was like, hey, I'm going to sit on a bench in one place and talk to people for several hours.
Chance to share their stories, right? That's what it's so much about.
It is. And so thanks for sharing your story. I appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Yeah, it's great.
I'm glad we have some daylight now.
Oh man. I can literally feel my body changing. Like, okay, I can go for a little bit. When they do a bunch of calls beforehand with kind of to train you. They're like, when the sun comes up, you're going to feel really good. Just know that when you get to noon, you are going to be wrecked.
I would think so. Because you feel like you're almost done, but you're not.
Yeah. Because that one, I was doing math. I'm like, 6 hours left. And I'm like, nope, bad math. I should not be doing math after this little sleep. 8 hours left. So now we're inching closer.
You got a chance to say good morning to your kids.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They came down last night, and they each got to sit on the bench for a little while and ask some questions. Actually, it was cool. There was also, her name's Junia, and she is 11. She's a monthly donor. So she sends in her donation every month. So I have written her a couple thank you cards.
Yeah.
And so her mom showed her she was doing that. She's like, oh, can I go sit down on the bench? I'm like, come on down. Yeah, she came down.
That's amazing.
She sat on the bench and, just kind of like had such a pure heart. It was like, what is it? Like what is, she's like, it just like makes me, I feel so thankful that like I've been care of, and it just pains me to think that somebody doesn't have a home to go to. Like, just feels like we should be able to do better. So she's gonna it is, and she is gonna make a difference. What's up, man? Okay, cool. Um, you got some stuff. Thanks, Ed. Appreciate it, man.
So Margaret K. Dean says, thank you for sharing God's grace and love to those in need. And Misty asks, how can us people at home in Stark County help support your ministry?
Awesome. So lots of stuff you can do. I would say, Misty, throughout the stories, like come down here. The best change that can happen is relationships with people that are here. And so come down, serve in the meal ministry, sort clothing, figure out if you have a talent. We've interviewed a bike shop owner and a dentist who took on things that were in their profession, and that's kind of what they did. So those are obviously, we always can use financial support. So, become a monthly giver, give us, it's $10, $20 a month, whatever it is that, you might be able to afford. That, all those things make a difference. So would love to, have your financial support. If you want to volunteer, you can go to our website. There's a volunteer tab, click that. It'll send an email to our volunteer coordinator, and she'll set up a time to get with you and talk about what it is how to get connected and trained and all that stuff. So those are a couple easy ways to get engaged. Gonna just give me 1 second. I'm gonna leave the bench. Do you want me where we're at in the, if I can just have I need like 3 minutes to just have a small break. Okay, I have not gotten hold of. Very good. All right. The mic, you don't have to have the mics right in front of you. So, the hey, what's up? Nice. Thanks, Nancy. We are super grateful that you're joining us, and hang on here for another little story for those of you that maybe are new. So we were going on, I don't know, however many hours, 18, 17 hours of, sitting on a bench talking to individuals in our community who are experiencing homelessness or have used our services. It's just a chance for them to kind of share with the community about what their experience was like. And what we want to do is humanize the homeless experience so that whatever kind of like stereotype you might have, or we want to kind of put a human face to that, because it's always more complex and nuanced and human than kind of what our ideas of things are. So so we'll keep plowing through. We also are doing a ton of partners this morning. Thankfully, what's your name again? So Justin, thankfully, was joining us, which is awesome. We want to keep telling stories of people, but because there's not as much traffic this time of day, we want to make sure to leave some space to highlight the work that people are doing in our community. So so this is Justin. He's joining us. Give just the teeniest backstory that Justin,
I was a
had-
drug addict for most of my life.
yeah.
Recently, I've been in prison quite a few times. The last time I got out, before I got in, I started learning about Jesus. Starting building a relationship with him. I got out of prison and came here. It seems like for some reason I fought for everything not to come back to Canton, Ohio, but something brought me here.
Yeah.
And like other people, many have said, God's working, and He is.
Yeah.
And everything and everywhere. But
Can you
I'm
talk?
very thankful that the refuge helped me in the ways that they did.
Yeah.
They gave me shelter and they fed me, and that's the least I could ask for. People that want to utilize the things that you give us, like bus tickets, food, some transportation, they even take us to church if we want to go to church. I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
Many people, they have to want to change as well,
Yeah.
other than you wanting to give it to them.
For you, Justin, what was the thing that changed where you were like, yeah, I'm gonna choose something different. I'm gonna stop using and
Honestly, my drug addiction brought me so far down, I didn't want my life anymore. I didn't care much for it. So I thought at rock bottom for 20 years until the last 3. And I had to get everything stripped away from me, and I was shown, God showed me exactly what I did to everyone else. And it changed my perspective on who I was.
Yeah. Talk about that a little bit. When you say change your perspective on who you were, what?
What changed who I am. I was a thief. I was a drug addict. I didn't care about anybody. I didn't even care about myself.
Yeah.
I thought I did, and I thought I cared about others, but if I don't care about anything I wanted, how could I care about anybody else? And then it's another thing like this. Why would I fight? If I won't fight for myself, then what makes Jesus or God think that I'm going to fight for him?
Yeah.
That's the most important part I want people to realize.
Yeah. And so one thing a theme that's just come out over the time being on the bench and talking to people like yourself who, overcame, figured out a way to stop using, they talk about, and I don't want to lead you, so if this isn't your thing, but
it's all right.
when you said for me, it's like you started to feel like, yeah, you named the things like I was a thief, I was this thing, but you left out like, oh, I was worthy too. Like I was a child of the Most High
And I
God.
didn't believe I was at that time.
Yeah, what
stopped me?
Yeah. Was there something
I
that
was at a downfall in my life. I knew I was facing life or death because of my drug situations.
Yeah.
And I was gonna die.
Yeah.
And during that process, I realized that everybody else is fighting the same demons and the same struggles that I am. They may know how to handle it better or differently, and some of them handle it worse or differently than I can or somebody else will.
Yeah.
And I learned not to hold that against them because that's who I was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not saying I still don't need help or to change more,
For
but
sure. Yeah.
That's it.
What would you say, like, what is it that keeps you sober? What are the things that are like, hey, this changed and these are the things I'm working on now
Because
to,
I
like,
don't ever want to be the person I was. I will never turn back to that.
Yeah.
I don't like. I still have issues and I still have stuff that I struggle and work on.
Yeah.
But I refuse to turn back to that person.
yeah,
That person was no good for anyone.
yeah. It's like what was old is dead.
Yeah.
Was-
It's just gone. Like, I believe in God and a higher power, and I believe it to be Jesus.
Yeah,
But I think He truly helped me. Nothing in my life ever did.
yeah.
Like I said, I grew up young, from a young age, foster homes,
Mm-hmm.
abused,
Yeah.
things like that, and it made me look at life like it was just a problem,
Yeah,
and I stopped looking at it like a problem and something to grasp a hold of, just to build on,
Yeah.
instead of looking at it as everything's
Yeah.
a struggle.
so as you like gone through that, talked about, some of that stuff, like what are the things that you're hopeful for, like when you
I'm
think
hopeful.
about your future, like
Right
you're
now,
like,
I can't get a good job. I'm a
mhm,
felon. I changed my life around. I really did, but you can't tell anybody anything. You have to show it. And
Yeah.
that's respectable, but they won't give you the chance to show it either.
mhm,
And I'm so down about that. But what can you do but push on and push on and push on?
yeah.
I'm making it.
So
By the grace of God, I'm making it. And I know that.
all kinds of people watch this, so who knows? I don't know what God will do with this little space,
It's the
but
truth, though.
I believe you. So if you pitch yourself to me of like, hey, here's why somebody should hire me.
Because I'm willing to learn if I don't know what it is. I would say I'm intelligent enough to figure it out.
Yeah.
Respectful to people. I treat people how I want to be treated.
Mhm.
I come to work on time. I'm never late. I'm early now.
Yeah.
I came early today just to come down here. I drive an hour and a half to work every morning. Right? Well, not every morning, but the days I get to work, I
Mhm.
drive an hour and a half.
Where are
I
you
came
working
here
right
in
now?
St. Clairsville, and I drove here. I got up. Obviously, it's what 7:30.
I have no idea.
You know what I mean? But I don't either really. I just get up and I came early just to come and
Yeah.
do this because I want people to see. I maybe people don't know who I was before.
Yeah.
Because I was so bad I can't remember some of my past.
Yeah.
But I am going to say that it's changing. People
Yeah.
are changing, and things are going to be better.
Cool. We haven't had this yet, but if you are watching and you know somebody that's like needs a good employee, needs somebody that's going to show up early, be on time, has a history, but it's like, you know what, I'm smart enough and we're going to figure it out. Like, get a hold of somebody at the Refuge of Hope. We'll get a hold of Justin. We'll put you in contact. You can interview him. He can give him the chance to prove himself to whoever it is. Like we see people change, and that's part of the story of the Refuge of Hope, is that people can overcome, people can get better.
Now, I have a
People-
question for you about the refuge because I've been in here.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of the people that come in. I can't say, I don't know for sure,
Mhm.
but I think a lot, I'd say over 50% of people that come in here have some kind of drug problem.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know, what your finances are, how they get their monies, and I know it get given to them and stuff like
Mhm.
that. But what about helping with the drug problem?
Yeah. So
Not just- if they
yeah.
had counselors and medications
Yep.
and something to where they could
Yep.
say, hey, you guys got to be here.
So
for
we
long
so
after
we
that.
do have, so the one thing that's just true about all addiction services, and
It's two
I'm sure
different companies.
well, no, it's less about that. It's like I can't want that for somebody else.
Right, I know they gotta want it, but if they're coming in here,
Yeah,
like
and we
me,
and we
okay,
have made connections with
this is my thing. 3 times before I was on drugs, I chose not to come here
yeah.
because I knew that I wasn't ready for one,
Yeah.
and that I was still doing drugs, and I was just gonna
Yep.
waste somebody else's space.
Exactly.
Okay, so but if you had people maybe stay a week or two, and they're still doing drugs, but they're trying to stop, and maybe
Yep.
we can give them a program
Yep.
to go to after that.
Yeah,
or,
so
or during
we-
that process before they just get kicked back to
Yep.
the street.
So we
into
have made some connections with a couple recovery places. One that's more faith-based. Ones if somebody isn't interested in that, where if somebody fails a drug test or we know that they're using and they're going to be dismissed, we offer that them to be like, hey, if you want treatment, one of the agencies will be here in like 40 minutes. Like if you want treatment,
like HWS, right?
well, no, this is like if you want
Different.
in person, you want a 60, 90 day, 1 year treatment
Oh,
facility.
They're doing this now.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
see,
So, so we're
Nice.
working to do that, and that's what we, try to offer to people. But
See, that's the kind of ideas I come up with.
Yeah.
This is why
that's
I
awesome.
want to be productive.
Appreciate it. So, if you're watching, you know somebody who has a job opening or needs a good employee, please, you can reach out to me. I'll get a hold of Justin. We'll try and make something happen. Who knows what the Lord could do with some silly conversation on a bench. But I'm willing to put it out there and see if anybody knows anybody looking for work. He's not lying. He was here early.
I'm actually working today.
But he wanted to be here, and he stopped. Is it yesterday?
Yeah.
He stopped and was like, "Hey, I'm on my way to work, but I'm coming in the morning to have that conversation because I want people to hear about my story."
On my way home, actually.
Oh, you were on your way home. That's right. But he's like, I want people to hear my story, and I want people to know that
It's like
people
Manny said.
can.
Manny, I was watching this morning a little bit from last night.
Yeah.
But, because I'm intertwined with this too.
Yeah.
And I want to help ministry in some way myself.
Yeah.
I got a lot to go too, but I'd like to get involved in some type of ministry.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks, Justin, for sharing your story, man. Appreciate your time. Appreciate you prioritizing that.
You have a good day.
Justin, Lisa says so true. You have to fight for yourself. God is good. His life is so important to show people God.
Come on.
Anyone can change their life. Mickey says such an incredible testimony, Justin. So proud of you. Your story is powerful. Congrats, man.
I hope it helps everyone else. I hope the
Yeah.
people that are listening just know that if I can do it, anybody can.
Yep.
I don't know if
That's
they,
right.
they don't know what I've been through. It's not worth explaining.
Yeah.
So we've all had struggles, and all of us are different. So,
Appreciate it. It's awesome, man. Thank you, Justin.
have a good day.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's the days. It feels like the days have been eternal. I know it does feel good. It is a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't survive that. All right. Marissa. Yep. That's right. See ya. Thanks, Justin. I'll be in touch if I hear from someone. Can you give your phone number to Lisa so I have it if we need it? What's up, Marissa? How are you? Welcome to the bench.
Hello.
It is. I don't even know what time it is. What time is it?
8 o'clock.
Just after 8 o'clock.
Just about.
All right. We're
7:58.
in the last
We're on
7 hours. You feel like you're close, and then you're like 7 hours away still.
It'll go fast.
It-
The sun's out.
It does help. That's for sure. Awesome. So again, this is a partner highlight. So kind of a unique thing that came together. So just let Marissa talk a little bit about herself and HWS and the work that you guys do here at the Refuge.
All right. My name is Marissa Ayers, and I am one of the counselors at HWS Best Health. And we are housed next door,
Yep, Community Care Center.
the Community Care Center. We have a few offices there that the Refuge lets us use. So we have 3 counselors, 2 case managers right now that we provide services just for the gentlemen that are in the Refuge, which is amazing because so many times you don't schedule a crisis and they're able just to walk next door. They're able to get engaged with us, get into services, get counseling. We can help them get linked with different community resources, and it happens pretty quick. We work in tandem with Clay and Ryan most days to get guys in services as quickly as possible.
So HWS has their office there. They're here Monday through Thursday, and kind of what they're there from. The hours vary based on the day, but basically what we do is have the services right on site, so that somebody wants mental health services, they want case management. You guys can do medication as well.
We do have telehealth medication management that we can assist with facilitating, yes.
Yeah, so they can facilitate that, but doesn't mean clients have to be on medication if they're not to that space yet.
Right.
But maybe are interested in talk therapy or CBT, something like that. So it just offers them kind of a variety. And this will sound probably crazy to people that aren't here, but you're like, well, they could walk 3 blocks and get help. Why have somebody across the street? It's because they won't walk 3 blocks. And if having across the street means somebody's actually going to go do it, then it's worth the investment to have it available for our clients that need it. And then the other part for me is just the continuity of care that HWS can provide, because they're here multiple times a week. They are familiar with our staff, so somebody's having a difficult time or needs extra care because of a mental health crisis, it's like, oh, they know how to call our staff, make that happen.
Yeah.
Things like that. So Marissa can't kind of share maybe in the same way that other people can. She has HIPAA violations that she's not allowed to cross. But if you could talk just in general of like, and you've been around for a couple years, so just talk about like what are the main things that people are coming to see you for.
We see so many gentlemen.
You got to talk a little bit louder. into this.
Sorry.
No,
I
just
don't
want to
be,
make sure we're
yelling.
catching it. No, you can.
Okay.
It picks up pretty good, but just
Okay.
talk, if you talk in a normal voice.
Okay. So we see so many gentlemen from so many walks of life. And I feel like there's so many preconceived ideas of what a homeless person is. And that couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah.
So we have had individuals come to us, and you lose your job, and so many of us know that struggle. You lose your job, you get behind in rent, you get evicted, you have nowhere else to go, you find the refuge. We have gentlemen that have moved from out of state, and they know that this is a safe place. We have gentlemen that struggle with mental illness, with AOD, and we are able to assist with a wide variety of situations and help them find support, help them find that safe place just to vent, just to get help. And for so many people, it's feeling like people care.
Yeah.
And it's feeling like a person again. I've heard that and it breaks my heart every time.
Yeah.
But just, I've had clients tell me, like, you see me, like, you make me feel like a person again. Like, I'm not just a homeless person.
Yeah.
I'm a person. I'm
Yeah.
cared about. And I mean, that in itself is why we do this.
Yeah, it's awesome. Talk a little bit about, heard from a bunch of different people, mental health, obviously, probably I would say, one of the 2 major issues. What, from your kind of experience in working with our clientele, like what are the markers that say like, you know what, this person's probably going to like come and participate in their own healing when it comes to mental health, or they're not? Are there things that you see like, hey, when somebody gets to this point, we know like, okay, they're really serious about the change that needs to happen?
I would say for us, it's unique. So most people, they're ready for a change because they seek you out,
Yeah.
right? But when we're here, we do about 50-50 of the seeking, and people come find us.
Yeah.
So it's different for every single case. But when people are ready for a change when they come find you,
Yeah.
or you surprise them and they didn't know they were ready for a change because they come talk to you and they're like, I just want to talk to somebody. I want to get away from across the street. I just need to breathe.
Yep.
And so then they find us and they're like, wow, I really do need some help. I need to talk about some of this stuff.
Yep.
So sometimes the best people to talk to are the people that didn't know that they needed the support. And then you find that safe place and they just open up and you're able to make some headway and talk about things that they didn't really know had really impacted them.
Yeah.
And may have actually led to their homelessness.
Yeah.
But they're able to resolve that. They're able to overcome those roadblocks. We're here for it.
Yeah. Talk about, I mean, obviously you kind of had a passion to work with our clientele, and like that's a thing you're interested in, but what's something through the process that you would say like, yeah, like I came in and I didn't know this about like the homeless population or this particular type of clientele that I was surprised by that maybe the average person would be surprised by?
That there's a lot of people that come from, we'll say, like wealthier backgrounds or had amazing jobs, and you wouldn't think of that. You think as a homeless person, oh, well, they must have, made poor choices in
Had a
life.
bad family,
Right.
don't like to work.
And that
Yeah.
could be further from the truth. You have gentlemen that just, they got down on their luck. Maybe they got really bad depression. They couldn't go to work.
Yeah.
Um,
It is
you
no
know.
respecters of persons.
yeah.
Like it's not in like a way to sound like demeaning, but it's like, yeah, like Clay and I were saying, it's like we've had dudes come in here that were commercial airline pilots.
Yes.
We've had guys with masters of business degrees who were making 3 figures.
Yes.
And, if you would have told them at any point, even in the midst of their whatever addiction they had, that, hey, you're going to like actually burn it all to the ground.
Yeah.
They would never believe that that's true.
Right.
And like sometimes they have the hardest because they don't want to think about themselves. Like, well, I'm not like them. Who's them? Well, homeless people. Okay. I got bad news for you, dude. You're them.
Yeah.
And how do you begin to come to terms with that? But also to say, like, yeah, like who I actually am isn't connected to that.
Yeah.
But I also can't think that I'm above whatever they're going through as well.
It humbles you.
For sure.
For sure. Like on this end as well, you're like, it takes something very small to make a life-changing event. And then, you never know. You could end up in the same place and you'd want someone to extend that same grace.
Even in the last, 18 hours, 16 hours, whatever. I can't even do math right now. The number of people that when you say like, hey, what was it that changed? What caused you to make a different choice? It's so varied, and it's so unpredictable. And like, I was in jail and I just knew like I can't do this anymore.
Yeah,
I'm somebody. It's like, okay, what? Couldn't you been somebody before you went to prison? That'd have been easier for you. You know what I mean? Like that's what our like brain thinks about. But then when you talk to people, you're like, yeah, you can't orchestrate it for them. Everybody has to come to it on their own.
Yeah.
And I think, obviously addiction's a different thing, but I also think like some of that is true for people dealing with mental health crises, and that they have to get to a place where we could tell them till we're blue in the face, like, hey, you need help. You need to go talk to them. But until they're ready themselves to be like, you know what, are willing to like participate in the help with you, and we see people every day who come here, wander the streets and have, that, if gave us all the power would be like, okay, let's just somebody put that person in treatment and let's get them some mental health assistance and we'll go from there. There's a gentleman who's been around with Christy and I since we started this thing 16 hours ago, and he needs help. He needs mental health assistance. He needs supports. Like Christy and I have been stepping in as, his support for the last, but we're not going to do this again. And we're not going to be here tomorrow night. And what's going to happen? Who's he going to talk to? Who's going to take care of him? And Christy's a saint.
I already talked to him.
You did. Perfect.
Yeah, and we're going to see about getting him linked.
Okay.
So I will say, unfortunately, that is a barrier, but it's not impossible. So if a person comes to us and they do not have health care, we are able to assist with applying for benefits, like especially down here at the refuge. We help a lot of the gentlemen apply for benefits, apply for health care, because that is something that is hard to navigate if you've never had to do it before. So it's not impossible to get services.
The other thing to just know about HWS too is like, this is just one of many places. So they serve all kinds of different populations all throughout the county. And so if you're interested in seeking help, you can go to hwsbesthealth.com.
Yep.
And they'll have the information about how to get that in. If you can't, you can send Marissa an email at mayers, MAYERS. No, not. Don't send that. Don't go to that email.
It won't go to me. My email is Marissa, MARISA, Ayers, it's all together, AYERS, at HWSbesthealth.com. refuge.com. That email will come to me.
Okay, perfect. Go to that email, send her an email. If you need help, like, hey, yeah, reach out. You know, there's sometimes ways in which people can make stuff happen, and hopefully we can get you help.
Yeah, and if you go to the website, there's phone numbers to reach out to.
Yep.
There's a lot of links that if you click, you can actually do a referral for yourself.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
Yeah.
Do that referral or email Marissa, but they've been super good partners and are doing lots of good work at other places in our community, and we're so grateful for their partnership and support. And thanks for being willing to come sit on the bench for a few minutes, Marissa, and enjoy your Friday.
Yes, you as well.
Well, I got 7 hours left here. I hope it does. It's going faster with the sun up and people here finally again. Are you here for me, Ernie? Come on down. Oh yeah? Good. Hey man, I've been here for nearly 17 hours.
Yeah, I see that. That's awesome.
No rest for the wicked here.
You just getting conversations and
Yeah,
letting people tell their story.
Yeah, mostly it's just like having just asking questions of people. So Facebook, this is Ernie.
Hi guys.
We try not to use last names, mostly just because
Understand?
your own privacy, and that's the goal of this. Isn't to have people know too much about you.
I got it.
But yeah, talk a little bit. So Ernie and I have known each other probably at least a decade, maybe more.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 2014.
Yeah, 2014. Okay, yeah. So a little over a decade. Ernie, talk a little bit about what services you used at the refuge or have used.
Yeah, the meal service, the food pantry, the
So
urban
how
art.
often when you're coming to meals? How many times a week?
When I can get out, it's almost every day for dinner.
Yeah.
Lately it's been maybe 3-4 times a week.
Yep.
The food's always good.
What's your favorite meal?
The meatloaf.
The meatloaf. Yeah, that's been popular.
Yeah,
People are like, hey, I love the
it's so
meatloaf.
good. I heard a story. It's Joanne's own recipe, but
It is. That's true
yeah,
story.
maybe that's why it's so
'Cause
good.
From when I never have loved meatloaf. Just
No.
confession. When I am out of town traveling is when my wife has meatloaf. She loves meatloaf. But
You're missing out, Scott.
yeah, I'm good. But sorry, let me get this. This is bothering me. And but one of the things that is that kind of has come out with the meat with that situation is just how people like different stuff.
Yeah.
But also knowing hey, there's a variety, and just the frequency. So use the meals regularly.
Yeah, the food pantry
Use the
when I
food
can.
pantry.
I used to be a resident here, as you knew.
Yep.
And
Familiar with that.
yeah, you guys saved my life. To be honest, I was on a path of destruction back then, and didn't know where to turn.
People, when you say path of destruction, where were you at? What was going on?
Oh gosh, my wife left me in 2009. I had a mental breakdown. I lost my job, my house. I was sleeping in my car for years before I hooked up with Refuge of Hope Ministries. I was doing some bad stuff, stealing, and just not living the right life.
Yeah.
And I started getting tired of it. I didn't think there was a way out. I was thinking about suicide on a daily basis. And something pointed me towards the homeless hotline. And I talked to your office, and thank God they had a bed available for me right away.
Yeah.
From there, it got better. It got a lot better. And I haven't been thinking like that.
Yeah. And you've
Been doing good things.
Yeah. So 2014, you're here. When do you move into
I moved November of 2020.
So you moved somewhere in between, right? You got
I was staying with a girl.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
And,
Now that you say that, I remember that.
Between her not paying rent and getting evicted and having that surprise on me, I've been through the Refuge of Hope at this location and the second one on
Yep.
2nd Street or 3rd Street.
Yep.
And like anytime I needed it, you guys welcomed me open arms. You know, and I praise God for that, because I don't know what I would have done.
Yeah.
I didn't have a car to sleep in at the time.
Yeah.
I slept outside a couple nights, and that wasn't cool.
Am I remembering right, Ernie? Like you were going through some physical health stuff too.
Yeah.
When you came, like, was it back or?
It was my knee.
That's right.
I was
Okay.
helping a guy
Okay.
move a shed, and one of the beams crushed my leg.
Okay.
And it really screwed up my knee, and
Yep.
that kind of hampered all my mobility. I used to ride a bicycle.
Yep.
Can't ride a bike anymore. And then just recently having strokes and heart attacks. So everything's, I guess when you get older, you get but
Yeah, they say. So there's a book called Body Keeps the Score.
yeah.
And it's this idea that trauma kind of like is built into your body when you go through, like they even say, like being homeless, like physiologically does things to you.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe
And
it.
the data shows, like, if you're homeless once, your life expectancy decreases by like 8 to 10 years.
Oh goodness. So
Just-
I knocked a couple decades off.
Just the stress of like what
it is very stressful,
Yeah.
as I'm sure you know, and a lot
Yeah,
of people might.
just witnessing it, you see, like, people don't understand, like, it's not just that you're homeless. It's like when you have a place, it's like surrounded by 50 strangers.
Yeah.
Can't probably sleep for the first 2 weeks, and then even if I'm there for 3-4 months, it's like it's kind of a
But-
underlying hum of stress.
I'll tell you, but getting in a shelter though is such a relief too.
Yeah, I can
because
see that. Yeah,
I was doubtful, like safety reasons, like you said, 50 other guys. And
Yeah.
You don't know anybody, and you're always looking over your shoulder. But it's not like that. It's almost a community, and all the guys help each other.
yeah,
you know? And,
yeah. People are always surprised by how many like friendships get built.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's really amazing because we're all going through the same thing, and
Yep.
we all need somebody to share that burden with.
Yeah.
You know?
That's awesome. It's true. So talk about 2020.
November 2020 when I
November.
moved in.
That's right. I mean, we're talking not too far long after COVID. Before
No,
COVID?
no, it was what a crazy time
That was a crazy time. I
It
don't
was-
want to go back.
No, it was shocking to me that how
So you move in November 2020,
yeah.
and then 4 months later, COVID hits.
Yeah, I was actually in the hospital when the first COVID
Case
cases
came,
hit.
yeah.
When I had my stroke in January 2020, you could tell the whole atmosphere changed in
Yeah.
the hospital. Like something serious was
Yeah.
happening, and nobody knew what it
It
was.
was, yeah.
And
Um,
then November was the height.
So you're still at your same place. Can
Yeah,
you tell him a
yeah.
little bit? So Ernie moved into like a permanent supportive housing unit. So talk about kind of what that is like.
Oh, well, it's great actually. It's my own place, my own apartment.
Sorry, my kids are going to interrupt us here.
That's all right.
There's
I love your kids.
Yeah.
They have a mental health worker on site that if you need some help,
Yeah.
you can talk to them. But the staff is great.
Yeah, awesome. And then, Ernie obviously has been around, so I see Ernie probably every week, maybe sometimes. Couple
Yeah,
times a
yeah.
week.
If it's meant to be, we see each other.
Yeah. So, just grateful for him. He's always positive. Was always a helpful person when he was here, and so want to make
Oh,
sure.
and you, Scott, I'd do anything for you. You're
Yeah.
such a great guy. And
No.
you help so many people.
Stop
that-
it.
Oh, I can't. I can't. I owe a grit of thank yous to you
Oh,
because you're amazing. Not just for what you did to me, but you're still doing it for everybody else. You know, that's amazing, Scott. You got a great heart.
Appreciate that, man.
That's why I came out here.
Yeah.
I wanted to tell you, you're a good guy.
Appreciate that. And, I mean, I'm happy to do the work, but the glory goes to someone else. I'm just
Yeah.
here. hands
Well,
and
you're
feet.
a great steward of it.
Well, I
Scott.
appreciate that, Ernie. Thanks so much for coming
Thank
and
you.
sharing some time, taking time out of your day.
I'm gonna go back home and watch it on YouTube.
Yeah,
and
hey.
Keep up the good work,
Six-
Scott.
6.5 hours left, man.
God bless you.
Yeah, take care, man. Appreciate that. What's up, guys? Family break.
Scott, you know how many times we talk about how God knows what we need before we
Yeah.
ask for it and how he just shows up all
Yeah.
the time. So Miss T just came out and she's like, "Hey, do you think Scott wants a cup of coffee?" I said, Scott doesn't drink hot coffee. I think he only drinks iced coffee. And I no sooner finished that sentence and
What?
look who got out of the car with an iced coffee for his dad. You
Thanks,
guys are
buddy.
awesome.
Thank you.
And
biting my
yes,
donut,
we do
what?
not have school today.
I probably
It's
would have
bright.
eaten any kind of donut at this point. But just trying to stay awake. How was the morning so far?
The morning
Good.
was pretty good.
Oh, you guys going to grandma's?
Yeah, we're gonna go see Gabby's Dollhouse, the movie.
Oh, that's awesome. That sounds like fun. I would love to join you. I'm actually, though, I think when I leave the bench, I think I'm going to go sleep.
Oh yay!
None.
You're lucky.
Yeah, I'm not feeling so lucky,
I
Madison.
didn't have to go to bed. I
Well,
think it's boring.
I got to be honest. I think I have a better attitude than you do if you don't sleep.
Oh yes, you do.
Yep. Here's the one promise is that when I get home and go to sleep, nobody can wake me up for a little while.
Huh?
You know
When I
that-
get home, when I get done here and go home to sleep,
How long do you think you'll sleep? Like 9 hours?
12.
Oh wow, 12
I will
hours.
have not slept for over 30 hours. Whatever. Are you kidding me?
Anyone can do that. I could.
What? Oh, I don't know. I think Marcus is sleeping. I don't think Marcus is.
How long have you been here? Hey, you were wearing that exact clothes yesterday.
She hasn't left. She's still here.
Wait, did you sleep in one of those chairs? Oh.
Nope. I got a bunch of people. I'll give you guys hugs and then I'll see you when we're done. Okay. Love you.
Love you, Dad.
Thanks for coming out. Love you, buddy. Hug? Sure. Cool. Yeah. You guys just give us, if Dustin and Dr. Ryan want to come sit down, we'll do. You can both sit here. We'll do, we'll all sit together. We can cozy up here just for a brief moment.
I'll sit by the mic since I don't talk loud.
That's fine. Yeah. You probably need to pull a little bit near you. I'll pull this one in. But so, again, highlighting partners of people that we face. So, one thing we were trying to this is from Life Care Family Health and Dental Center. This is Dr. Ryan.
Just Ryan.
Ryan.
Yeah, I'm a physician assistant, not a doctor.
Okay. Our people only know him as Dr. Ryan. So, we will. He is a physician's assistant, but he is here every Friday, and then you are
Devin.
Devin under Ryan Carroll.
okay. Awesome. And so they're open for like a minute clinic every Friday. Clients can come in without appointments.
So they come in without appointments, but it's not a minute clinic. It's more for primary. We'll address acute issues.
Okay.
But it's more. I don't want to give the impression that it's sort of
Urgent care.
and urgent care.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
so
they
we're primarily
establish care. Once
Right.
they come in, they're established patients
Correct.
with life care.
yes.
See, this is why we're doing this, because I'm learning stuff here right on the fly.
Yeah. So I mean,
Um,
if there's acute issues, of course,
And
we'll address
I am
those.
going to stop referring to it as Minute Clinic, because I say that to people all the
Oh,
time. So I'm
okay.
like, okay, I gotta change my language. One thing that just want to highlight is we obviously are so grateful to have you guys on site. So many of our clients haven't sought care usually for sometimes a decade
Sure.
or more. So are there unique kind of health challenges that you guys see in the population you're serving here at the refuge as opposed to other things? And if so, what are the kind of markers of that uniqueness?
Well, primarily what you just said, a lot of people just don't have care and haven't had care. So a lot of different conditions go untreated or undiagnosed. Some we find new, and then some they come in and they reestablish care. A big one, obviously, is diabetes and hypertension are the two biggest ones that we see that people have chronically and leave untreated. And obviously both, when untreated, lead to many other health conditions.
Tell people what they lead to, because some people aren't always aware, especially we see it firsthand.
Mhm.
So I could probably answer this one, but
Yeah.
for people at
Yeah,
home
most
that
people-
maybe
well, I mean,
not.
the big ones with that both action with both of them, kidney disease, stroke, heart attacks. Obviously, vision is affected by both of these as well for long term, neuropathy. So those are the big ones that happen with untreated
Okay.
diabetes and hypertension.
Awesome. And in serving,
Oh, and I can add, I'm sorry, just real quickly want to add, and mental health is a big one too.
Yeah.
But there's, HWS over there who does a good job at assisting more with the mental health. At Life Care, at our main offices, we have behavioral health and addiction services. But here at the refuge, HWS does a good job at treating the people here.
Yeah. Awesome. In servicing, our clientele, are there kind of like a unique approach or unique kind of skill set that it takes because they don't have are more suspicious?
Yeah, so I was just going to say patience and education are the two big ones. A lot of times as providers, when I will call patients don't want to follow the recommendations or that kind of thing. You just have to be able to explain, like you said, why it's important that they follow the recommendations. And there's a lot of misconceptions, especially nowadays with treatments and what's effective and what's not.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to combat a lot of that as well.
Yeah. Education is such a huge
Yes.
part.
Yeah.
And especially, a guilty party number one. He doesn't go to his primary care doctor often enough. But also, like for a lot of our clients, it's not like I missed a year or 2 years. It's like decades.
Sure.
They have so many untreated stuff.
Right.
How does kind of the compounding trauma, does that affect their general health over time? Or, like, do you guys see that?
Compounding.
Like, of just like, I've been homeless. I've lived under stress for
Oh,
a long
sure.
time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think a lot of people go unseen because they don't have insurance, which we see
Right.
uninsured.
Mhm.
We help with that.
Mhm.
A lot of people are unmedicated because of insurance, so they might get seen by us, but then they don't go pick their medicine up because it costs too much.
Right.
So that does affect it
Yeah.
a lot.
Anything else? A question that I should have asked that I don't even know enough to ask that you would say, like, hey, this is helpful for people to be aware of.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, our clinic is available for everybody at the Refuge of Hope, but it's also a community clinic. So anybody within the community. In fact, there's probably 5 or 10% of our patients choose just to come and see me at the refuge as opposed to at the other office. Just because they can kind of walk in when they want, they don't need the appointment. So that's a big one. That it's the opportunity and the care is available for anybody who needs it.
Yeah, and Life Care has been such a great partner because they've been flexible. We kind of tried this kind of harebrained idea. I think we're on our 3rd, 4th year.
I believe that's about, yeah.
And the community care center is built, if you've never been down here, like it's built like a medical office for the most part. We have 2 exam rooms. People come in, that you have a special room where they're going to take your blood pressure and do all that stuff.
Mhm.
And it's set up like a doctor's office, so they're
We
getting
do blood work down here.
Yeah.
right. They're getting great care, and they're getting in a
Same
professional
same
environment.
care they would get at life care. Basically.
Right.
Yep.
And yeah,
And
and
so
any
that's a
appropriate
huge thing.
referrals are made.
Yeah,
That,
everything's done
yeah.
here in the office.
Yeah. So just amazing, before, we had no way to access our clients. We'd help schedule stuff. Nobody'd show up. And now it's like, hey, are you going to be here Friday?
Right.
Like, walk across that street,
Yeah.
go have somebody look at that sore or
Right.
check
Yeah.
your blood pressure, make sure you don't have
Yeah.
other complications from your diabetes. So
Right.
super grateful for you guys. Thanks for taking a
Absolutely.
few minutes and entertaining this little
Yeah.
conversation on a
Pleasure.
bench. Appreciate it. Just trying to raise awareness. So
Yeah.
thank you guys for your time.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you.
Yep. All right.
All right. Take care.
Thanks. Sorry that you're gonna smell like smoke. Okay. I was gonna try and move. We might have to move our smoke away so everybody we're getting everyone. Well, I'm gonna move this because it keeps blowing right in my face. I feel like I'm having. If we just move it that way. Okay, perfect. I think I'm set for. There's a trove of Mountain Dew that I made it through the evening with only one Mountain Dew, which seems like a minor miracle, but
That is impressive.
it feels like the last 3 hours are going to be the grind of this.
Yeah, once you sit down and get warm.
Yeah, and even just like the sunshine now feels like a little bit of a drug. You're like, okay, I can go. But then when you're like, oh, how much time do we have left? Oh, you still have 6 hours.
But are you going to start us off with a rap? I heard you rapping yesterday.
No, that was accidental because I didn't know it was actually live.
I got
They're
to
like-
see it. It was good.
They're like, we're testing. And I'm like, oh, okay, we are testing. And then they're like, yeah.
Oh, no.
Once the cat was out of the bag.
Yeah.
So awesome. So if you're still with us, thanks for joining us. So kind of on the theme of highlighting kind of partners in our community that are working on the issue of homelessness this morning. We have Marcy Bragg from the Stark Housing Network with us. Marcy's been with the Housing Network for
8 years.
for 8 years. Dang. Okay. That feels like that can't be right. But talk a little bit about, we are active partners with the Stark Housing Network, but lots of people have no idea what that is. So if you could just give us a 10,000 foot view of what the Stark Housing Network does.
Yeah, as far as the Stark Housing Network.
Sorry, I'm going to move this
Nope,
up
that's good.
there. It doesn't be right in
Good.
your face.
That's
but there,
okay.
you can
That's
talk
okay.
there. Yep.
That's fine. So the Stark Housing Network is a nonprofit organization that was organized by the community to sort of oversee the activities of our homeless continuum of care. And what that is there's funding that comes into our community in the amount of about $4.2 million. That's federal HUD funding to serve those that are literally homeless in our community. So those are individuals that are on the streets in their cars, places not meant for human habitation. And with the funding that comes into our community, they really want to make sure there's a coordinated system so that there was one entry point into the shelter systems within our community. There's one entry point for the housing resources for those that have the highest acuity of need in our community. And it's a good structure in the sense that I think it brings a lot of community partners around the table, like Refuge of Hope, for example, that doesn't necessarily receive the continuum of care funding, but is definitely a critical partner in the men's shelter and soon to be women's shelter that's going to be offered. So we sort of look at gaps within our community, try to bring in additional resources based on the gaps that we're seeing. We also oversee the funding within the community that the providers administer, just to make sure that we're having good outcomes for individuals that we're serving. So it's not just about connecting individuals with maybe that emergency shelter, but it's making sure once they're entering the emergency shelter systems within Stark County that they're being connected to mainstream services, they're being connected to employment opportunities, they're being connected to housing, and then ultimately, if they are exiting our homeless assistance resources, that we're exiting individuals to positive destination. So it's really just looking at something like a holistic approach rather than having a variety of shelters and a variety of homeless assistance agencies just all sort of operating on their own without connectivity to one another. And I think that connectivity too, Scott, and I know that you participated for years on weekly calls when individuals are being referred to housing options. It's really important that because it's not just the shelter provider or the housing provider or maybe somebody who's providing behavioral health services. It's those organizations and those representatives of those organizations really coming together to sort of circle around and work with that individual and help them move forward.
Yeah, this is actually helpful information if you're unfamiliar with the homeless system, because some people are like, oh, how does that whole process happen? Like, obviously there's funding there, but people do get assigned to housing, but like there's a pretty ongoing process of there's a prioritization list, people that are working, either case managers or those housing providers, are having conversations about hey, who's on the list, what do they need in order to get housed. If it's documentation, which we heard from, is a struggle just in talking with people who are been coming on the bench, just hey, it's can't give my birth certificate because of X, Y, and Z. And, having third parties involved to hey, how do we alleviate those barriers? How do we work alongside them so that what maybe is an achievable problem, somebody can walk them through so they don't miss out on housing opportunities.
And I wish we didn't need it, honestly. I wish we didn't need a system. I mean, number one, I wish none of us were in business right now and operating because everybody was housed and wouldn't need the services. Yeah. But I think the other thing too is, unfortunately, the services for individuals that are, and the funding for individuals that are experiencing homelessness has continually been under-resourced. So, I mean, it's a system, it's a process. Scott mentioned the prioritization list, but unfortunately that's when you have limited resources, we really want to have a concentrated effort to make sure that we're serving those in our community with the highest level of need. I wish we didn't have all those steps and processes in place because we were flush with resources, but when we're not, it's a system that makes sure we're serving those.
And from our perspective, sometimes there's a little bit confusion, well, why does it matter for the Refuge of Hope? You guys don't take federal funding. Why does it matter that you're connected to what's happening with the Stark Housing Network and the other agencies? And for us, the only output for any of our clients from the Refuge is other services. We don't provide a housing service to our community. That's not the role we have. Now, there's lots of other providers that do, but it's totally integrated into what we're doing here, because if agencies aren't, having good outcomes and moving people into places, the people that they're moving are people that stay at our facility. So it's important for us to be integrated in that system, both to remove barriers for them, but also to make sure that, hey, are they moving to the right place? And if the system isn't working, we're going to probably be some of the first people to feel it because the outflow is not working. Next, kind of another thing I've been asking providers is what is kind of a unique challenge that you face currently, and what are things that you think our system maybe is uniquely good at?
I'll start with the good.
Yeah,
I
put
think,
the deposit in first.
I think our system is good at collaborating. I think when you're looking at serving individuals that are experiencing homelessness within your community, it's not a one provider answer. Yeah. It's not even a nonprofit answer. I mean, it has to be your federally, your state funded agencies. It has to be your faith-based agencies that maybe see some more private funding. It needs to be your city leadership that's involved in all of that. So I think between the committees and the boards that we run, we just have great collaboration, and I think we have a lot of different voices around the table. And just to pick up a little bit, Scott, just to add to why the strength that I think that we have with Refuge of Hope participating, you mentioned, it's not something you have to participate in, but it's something you want to participate in it because you want to make sure there's exits, for individuals that are in your system. But on the same sense, we are a system and we set policies and procedures. So if we don't have people sitting around the table like Scott from Refuge of Hope share, like this is what's happening now and this is what's not working, and bringing that information to the table, we can't make adjustments. So I think the strength is that collaboration. I think that we are a structured system. We have high level policies, but we try to be as reactive as we can when we're seeing things come up that need to be changed. I think one of the difficulties are just simply our housing, our affordable housing shortage right now. Affordable housing means a lot of things. It's, individuals that are trying to exit out of homelessness, but it's also individuals that, may have worked for 5 years and are trying to look for their first time home and not able to find affordable housing, but that's really just caused an issue within our system. So I think the affordable housing piece, and I think the other struggle that we're facing right now, like a lot of nonprofit sectors that are trying to help our community members and our fellow neighbors, is just the volatility right now of our federal funding.
One thing that I do actually think is, like, should have probably clarified this at the beginning, but it is helpful, especially when Marcy and I talk about affordable housing, we kind of have an understanding of what that means. And we talk about the Stark Housing Network, we should kind of like also clarify what it's not for people. So like, it's not public housing. It's not, landlords that are subsidized that have their own wait list. Like the Stark Housing Network generally focuses on homeless services. They don't have housing buildings that we would move somebody into. They would be the funder of people that get permanent supportive housing units or rapid rehousing programs, but not that they have units that people could necessarily move into. Sometimes that people can get confused. And even as a system, like we don't have, we have some things we can do, but like we don't control public housing. That's its own separate thing. We don't control Section 8 or housing choice vouchers. That's its own separate thing. We don't, affordable housing or subsidized housing that's privately owned. We don't have any special avenue into their units. People have to go through their separate process. Same thing with senior housing. So the housing that we do serve is a very kind of particular that involves permanent supportive housing and rapid rehousing. Those are the kind of two main avenues that people serve. And we serve, men, women, domestic violence victims, like a whole wide range of individuals.
Yeah, and that's a good claim. Just to be very specific too, we have about $2.88 million worth of the continuum of care funding that comes in for actual housing units that fund units that providers then offer, whether it's sites that they own themselves or whether or not they're working with private landlords. And that's about 297 households a year. So when we're talking about sort of what I don't want to say control, but what oversight that we have, that's where we have the oversight.
And it's easily before, this is like inside baseball talk almost, because we've both worked in it for a long time. So it makes sense to us. But whenever I try to explain to my board, they're like, who does what? Who does what? How do I understand? So, we've gone through the whole, here's the diagram. Here's what the Stark Housing Network is. Here's the COC. Here's, funded partners, stuff like that. So yeah, it's been just to share with you too, it's been super interesting, and just sitting here for 24 hours, which sounded kind of ridiculous, to be honest. Are people really going to sit down? Are they going to talk about their experiences? And it's been all the things that I hear people saying in meetings, people sitting here and being like, hey, I ran into this. I'm not sure how to do it. Or I'm frustrated because doesn't feel like there's enough housing, and how am I going to get help because I'm not sure, my name's ever going to get to the top of the list. So what are my options? Things that we know as providers, we're trying to work through those things and provide opportunities. But just, it has been good to confirm hey, we're keyed into what seems like the right things. And so, excited to kind of take some of the stuff that people have shared and be like, hey, what do we do with this? How do we bring it to, the work that we're doing in all our committees and whatnot.
And I'm sure the voices that you've heard over the past, I don't know how many hours now, but over the past over 12, 15, 16 hours. But I think those voices and capturing that information, which it sounds like you're doing, and I mean, I'm sure you're going to utilize that information in different ways. It's not a waste of your time. It wasn't a waste of the individual's time that was sitting on the bench. And I think, too, with the continuum of our committee meetings and what's happening, I think those voices that you can bring and that information you can bring to the table so that we can react to what you're hearing. Not to say that we always have the resources to solve everything, but I think we are a community that cares and wants to react and try to improve.
But also what's been cool this morning, it didn't really happen much last night, but people started following last night, and the number of former clients who are in the comments being like, hey, I know most of them because a lot of them from 10 years ago, like, hey, I was there in 2014, was so helpful for that, so I know, like, oh yeah, you got into that specific COC program, and hey, I'm on my own, I'm driving truck across the country, or I've been on my own for 10 years. It's like, okay, that's also been like an unexpected, like, I'm like, are they, who's gonna really watch this? So to hear them in the comments and be like, hey, send us an email with your story, we want to hear these, we want to highlight to, like, hey, people are using this to get better. So
that alone is worth spending the time on that alone is worth it.
It has been surprising. It's not something I like kind of expected or thought would happen. So but yeah, thanks for your time, Marcy.
Thank you,
thanks
Scott,
for giving
for
me
having
part
me.
of your morning, and we're so thankful for your leadership with the Stark Housing Network. And it's a lot of behind the scenes work, so I'm sure it can feel like a thankless job, but thanks for you and your staff, for Lisa, and all the time, energy, meticulous detail that goes into all the work you guys do. I'm bad at that, and you're probably like, yeah, Scott, you were supposed to send me an email with a document, and I just realized that I was. So
that's okay.
I will get that out before I leave today.
No problem. No, thank you so much for having me, and thank you for all that Refuge of Hope does. You're just a great partner, and I think such an asset to the community for the services you provide. So thank you for that.
Appreciate that. Thanks, Marcy. All righty. All right. The Sisters of Charity, we're ready. Come on down. I'm gonna move that smoke just keeps, doesn't matter how much further out. Lisa brought all that because we ran out of wood. We got a bunch of like wood from my yard that's like been drying out for years, and then we ran through it. Yeah, well, we ran through it all. You can sit in the middle here. I'll move them. The mics are pretty good. They were picking up people on the other side of the sidewalk last night. So some people who thought we were having a private conversation ended up not being as private as we hoped.
Yeah.
Which was, they had no idea, and it wasn't like it was anything personal. But it was just somebody's like, yeah, we heard that guy, Scott. I'm like, how? He was not even talking that loud.
Got good equipment.
So
Wow.
yes, Marcus is, this is all Marcus's setup. He is so he's like the part-time chaplain for us.
Yes. Okay, I remember you telling us.
Yeah, so he's kind of on the speaking circuit.
Right.
And has a addiction story himself. Like, was in Stark County Jail. His wife, I don't want to bury his lady. He tells the story all over the country. So this is not like, but yeah, his wife basically turned him in the police because he was using, and they had a baby, and he went to jail and found Jesus. Marissa and Shannon from Sisters of Charity Foundation. Most people are like, oh, you mean Catholic Charities? Nope, don't mean them. Mean the Sisters of Charity Foundation. So talk a little bit, if either of you guys could just talk a little bit about how long you've been at the foundation, what are the foundation's initiative, what's its role in Stark County?
I've been at the foundation for a little over 3 years now, and the work is amazing. We carry on the work of the Sisters of Charity of St. Augustine, who are getting ready to celebrate their 175th year of service. So from Cleveland down to South Carolina, they have changed people's lives and really focused on the poor and underserved. So our foundation focuses on the poor and underserved in Stark County and some of our surrounding communities. And we have 3 different foundation-led initiative areas, one of which is homelessness, early childhood, and behavioral health. So we really try to make systemic changes in those 3 areas. And then we do some other responsive grant making. Yeah, Shannon.
So I've been with the foundation for 11 years, and I just got braces yesterday. So I have a lisp right now.
Perfect.
So yeah,
Perfect.
I know. I was like, great. I
Perfect
scheduled this for that next morning.
Yeah.
No, I've been with the foundation for 11 years and focusing on homelessness for most of that time. And as Marisa said, we really try to focus on systemic change. And for us, that means getting involved at the system level, making sure that we establish systems in our community that can help address the root causes of poverty. We would love to solve poverty.
I would love
We
that
would
too.
love
If you
to.
could just go ahead and do that, it'd be great.
But we know we need to lay down
Yep.
some groundwork. We need to get involved, and so in our initiatives, we spend a lot of staff time. We spend a lot of money. We do evaluation a lot of times, and we don't do them for just a short period of time.
Yep.
And we've been doing homelessness for the whole 11 years that I've been with the foundation. And early childhood, we've been doing since day one, and that's over 25 years. So.
So just to draw a straight line, because Marcy was just here, when we to help you guys think about like, well, what does it mean to do systemic change? So the Stark Housing Network, pretty much, I might get this a little bit wrong, but the Sisters of Charity Foundation kind of funded the initiative for the creation of the Stark Housing Network because there was some funding advantages for our community to have a housing network that took all of the money into Stark County as opposed to balance the state. So just one like easy example, we draw a straight line of like, hey, this is what a kind of high level initiative it looks like that Sisters of Charity Foundation is interested in.
Yeah.
And I've been here so long that I was a part of that. That's how long it's been.
I was
That's
too.
correct.
You were here when that?
Yeah,
with-
yeah. It wasn't that. It was what, 2016, 2017 that we founded Stark Housing Network.
I mean, yeah, time
But it was
does
about
weird things.
10 years ago that we started asking that question. Like the foundation, Gene,
Right.
had been managing the work.
Yep.
And we got to a point where we couldn't just have a part-time person at the foundation
Yep.
managing all
That's
the
right.
work of the continuum of care. So are we going to find an existing organization to take it on? Are we going to establish a new organization to take it on? Is
Yep.
it going to go to a unit of government, or are we going to go to the balance of state?
Yeah.
So those questions were kind of posed to
Yep.
the community, and the answer was, we're going to start a new organization. And we were one of many partners that helped to fund the founding. I mean, we had all the cities were involved, and the county
Mhm.
was involved, United
Yeah.
Way. Who am I forgetting? Starkmar
Yeah,
has been involved.
a whole
So
host. So one of the things that I like for me as a community partner, the Refuge of Hope, the Sisters of Charity obviously has been like super generous in like, hey, we have this idea, we think there's this need, how do we do it? But what I think is so great about the sisters is they never kind of like let you off the hook to be like, sure, that sounds like a good idea, Scott, go and do that. They're always like, hey, that does sound like a good idea, but here's 10 questions we need you to think about before you're going to move ahead with that, because it might be a great idea, but if it's sustainable and it's not going to bring about systemic change or move the dial in some ways, then it's like, okay, it's a good idea, but I'm not sure that this is the place where the sisters is going to be at. So, I think it makes our community like such a sharper community in how we think about like, oh, what does help look like? What's a new program that makes sense for us?
yeah.
And I, people from the outside probably have, would have no idea that, there's lots of conversations that go in around that, but I always think like there's that piece. And then if you guys could talk a little bit about, because I think these are those other areas people maybe aren't aware of, but talk a little bit about like the workforce initiative and homeless services. And like, this is another example of like, hey, here's a systemic problem that we kind of fit perfectly into.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll start and I'll let Shannon dive into the details because it's really more her work. But the workforce initiative is something that we're doing in each of our focus areas to really try to impact recruitment, retention, and keeping people doing the work that needs to be done, because it's such important work, and it's high burnout, high turnover,
Low pay.
but it's so impactful. And I
Yeah.
think that's why our foundation has chosen to focus most recently on those workforce areas, because without the people,
Yeah.
we can't do the work. And, we wouldn't be here if it weren't for you doing the work.
Yep.
We're supporting the work that you're doing, and we want to make sure that that continues on, and we have a steady stream of folks that are able to keep doing that work. So,
Yeah, like Anne, our grants manager, always says we can't fulfill our mission if you're not fulfilling yours, so, meaning our grantees. So that's supporting workforce is one way for us to help the organizations who are doing this hard work. And this all started a few years ago. We started a workforce initiative in behavioral health, and we were like, we can borrow some of these lessons we've learned from the behavioral health project and homelessness. And for, I don't know, maybe a year, Marcy's gonna laugh, I was like, Marcy, are you ready to do a workforce initiative? And she was like, no, not yet. And I was like, Marcy, are you ready to do a workforce initiative? She's like, no, not yet. And I was like, Marcy, we're going to do a workforce initiative.
Yeah.
Come on, let's work on it. And she was like, okay, fine. So I pushed her a little bit on it because I had seen the change that it had made in the behavioral health. And so we're helping, like Marisa said, it's about recruitment, retention, upskilling. So it's providing professional development opportunities, people to attend national conferences for the first time, get certifications that help them do their jobs, like industry recognized certifications. It's helping with, if people so choose this, sometimes like Lean Six Sigma to help recruiting. I know it's helped with HR work, and really focusing on building a culture that's going to support the people. So also retention incentives and engagement, and like providing funding to go do fun things with your staff, because that matters.
It matters.
Like if those things aren't there to outweigh the heaviness of the jobs that you do, the critical jobs that you do, then that's that much harder.
Yeah. And so this is a perfect segue, like circle draws another straight line of like, so we are recipient, and part of the funding that they used was for our kitchen staff who comes in, they work really hard, they rarely have time to think about like, hey, what does it look like for me as somebody that's a kitchen assistant to like develop my own personal skills. And so they've done like an A-session leadership, and it was really the first time where most of them were ever in a scenario. One of the guys is like, Scott, I've been in prison for 27 years. Nobody's ever thought about like, what else could I do? It's been like, can you do this? And then do that. Okay. And don't ask too many questions. So he's like, just the ability to have somebody to just say like, hey, what's your leadership style? What's your voice? What do you know about yourself that you're good at? What are things that maybe like, hey, I need to be aware that this is maybe like a dark side of a skill I have that if I'm not aware and thinking about how I'm communicating, that people might receive it a certain way. So they got done with their like 8 sessions, and they were like, we're ready for more. And they're like, what's next? And I'm like, we're gonna apply for grant again, and we're gonna hopefully they're gonna do this again. But it's like for us, it's like people that had never had access to it, for them it's like totally changing, not only just like them individually, but like as a part of those 8 sessions, they're doing the work together. So you're doing individual work about like, hey, what is my voice? How does it impact me? And then it's also like, how do we communicate better? Or what's the ways that like we're missing each other in ways that aren't helpful to make us a functional team? And like, I mean, they're probably not watching, but I mean, I would walk back in the kitchen sometimes and be like, hey guys, like this cannot happen. You can't yell at each other. And they were fine. They weren't like upset. Like they were upset with each other, but they were going to get past it. And they were just like, oh, this helped us understand like why we were communicating that way, and like why it actually wasn't helpful. We weren't getting any closer to like solving a problem or figuring out what was going on, but going through that process has been like so amazing for them. So
going even beyond like investing in an individual into building the team.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But I think what's really great about that is that somebody paid attention to their needs and who they are as a person, and how they can grow in their role regardless of what that role is, because it plays an important part in the whole system.
We need them.
So
exactly.
And we believe that.
And they, I mean, it's been like I kind of had no expectations about sitting here for 24 hours, just like, will people even like share with me? Well, or like, yeah, it's kind of like a weird thing to ask somebody to do, to just sit down and like, hey, I'm just gonna like ask some questions. But
Right.
like people have been like way more open, but it's been interesting in interviewing our staff because we've been telling stories and been talking a lot about kind of culture and mission. And one of the guys who's our third shift supervisor, he came in before a shift and we were talking last night, and we're like, what about the refuge? And he's like, this is like the best story. He's like, his name's Manny. He's like, I was homeless getting out of prison in 2017. When I had gone back to prison, I kind of had really, found Jesus and was really, kind of just like really connected to that part of my life. And so I walk into the Refuge of Hope, homeless. I walk in the front door. I don't even remember who the receptionist was. And she's like, hey, how can I help you? He's like, I don't even know why he says it, but he's like, yeah, I'm Manny Sanchez. I'm on a mission from God. And he's like, I'm sure she looked at me like I'm nuts. And when it came out of my mouth, I was like, what am I doing? What did I just say? And then he's like, yeah, fast forward to 2025, where I come in every night to serve the men here. And I'm like, Manny Sanchez on a mission from God. And you're just like, yeah, like when he said it to me, I got chills on my whole body. I'm like, okay, you can't make that up. Like, Manny had never told me that story, but it goes back to this idea of like, yeah, what does it mean to keep Manny, to say like, hey, Manny, you were here. Like, we think you can actually do a lot more. You have such a unique like skill set to start from. And so how do we build into you to give you even more skills so that, maybe one day you can have my job, or you can be the director, and, being more committed. It's forced us as an organization to say like, okay, if we're going to hire people who've used our services, but we're not doing the really intentional work to make a systemic change for them about like, yeah, you started as a director, but as a supervisor, but you got the skill set to be a director. How do we pour into you so that you can realize that? And that's just been like, that's one of the themes that's come up throughout the whole thing is like, man, the number of people. One of the ladies in the kitchen, I was at like, hey, why do you work here? And I knew a little bit of her story, but she's like, yeah, Scott. She's like, I was a homeless single mom. When I came here, it's the first time I could afford my own apartment, provide for my kid. And, she's like, I don't say this to be like, make you feel good about yourself. She's like, Refuge Hope doesn't offer me a job. I'm probably staying in one of the shelters. And this was like a transitional point. And she's awesome. She's like talking about in our conversation about like how that grant and that ability to just learn about herself. She's like, I'm doing things I never like get up and talk in front of like 200 people. She's like, I couldn't literally never imagine that happening 2 years ago. And here I am, Lord's using these things to build me up. So cool to share with you guys. And it's been like the other part, I don't want to go off on too much, but it's like the other cool part, never expected this, is like people in the comments this morning are like, hey, this is so-and-so. I was in the Refuge in 2014. I've been following this, thanks so much for the help that you guys provided for me. And it's just like, I'm like,
they see your face.
Yeah, they all,
Scott was there, and
yeah.
we know Scott was there in the old building.
For sure, yeah. And so it's like all those things have been like, whoa, I did not expect that to happen, for people to feel connected. So that's been super fun. So anyways, thanks for coming down. I'm sure we probably can't not do this next year because it's been like, although by 3:30 I'm probably gonna have to rethink that. But
well, hopefully you'll get this beautiful weather
next year. Weekend and just
I'm taking off. I've already said like I'm out first part of next week.
You gotta recover. No.
Yeah, that's what my kids are like. Well, I'm like, when I get home, you just need to let me sleep for a little bit. So I feel much better. Actually, like 3:00 was the worst because you're like, it's not really that close to the sun getting up. Tired people were.
And if weird things are gonna happen, it's always 3 a.m.
Yeah. They were some strange people that kind of like came up to the fire, but it was good. It was all part of it. So super grateful. Thanks you guys for coming, talking about the sisters and all the work they're doing, and as a community member, so thankful. homelessness is one of many areas that you guys focus on, but our community wouldn't be what it is without your guys' investment to make sure the people that are most in need of basic needs, are met, and we couldn't do it without the sisters. So thank you guys for.
Proud to be a part of it.
Yeah, we couldn't do it without you. So
All right.
blessed to be here. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, Scott.
All right. You guys are free to go meet with each other now.
We'll have our meeting.
We're waiting on a meeting for each other. All right. Aaron. You ready, Aaron? Never mind. The mayor's next. Are you on a tight schedule, Bill? Are you on a tight schedule? Are you on a tight schedule? Okay. Let me sit down with the mayor. Come in. Let's do you, Bill, so that you can get going. All right. You're probably gonna need them, be honest. That's the only reason I'm wearing a hat, because it is staring right into the sun, which yesterday it was to our back, so you might be able to sit sideways enough. I'm gonna move this mic in front of you there. Okay. Awesome. So for those of you that don't know, the Honorable Mayor Bill Scheer, thanks for coming.
Oh, good morning, Scott.
It's good to see you here.
Good to see you. I didn't recognize you with a hat on. Yeah.
Hey, I was gonna say it's been a little incognito here, but
yeah.
After this many hours, it's like, okay, I'm starting to feel a little bit of the pain of this.
No, this is really cool.
Yeah,
this is good. This is good. Yeah.
So yeah, Bill, just from the refuge perspective. So the point of this mostly was just like, hey, and it was from obviously been a lot of chatter about the homeless ban, and
yeah,
Bill's been an amazing partner for us. He's I've been around for 18 years. He's the first mayor that called up and said hey, we got a problem here with just being able to take care of, not we need to get rid of, but just these people need better services. No mayor had ever called to say hey, what can we do to help you guys? How do we participate and partner to make this happen? And so for whatever the narrative is out there, my narrative is first mayor to ever call, first mayor to ever say, hey, when it's cold, we're just going to open someplace so the people are safe.
Yeah.
Talk about kind of the heart of that,
Well, and I'm just a kid that grew up in this town, and it's got to be about everybody, even our most in need. It really opened my eyes when I got this job 21 months ago that, our most vulnerable in our community is increasing tenfold. There's no doubt about that. And I know that I don't have all the answers. And so when we started to talk about getting together in the homeless task force, that, if we can all put our heads together, we have a better chance of solving these problems.
Yeah.
And, I can't say enough about yourself, Scott. I mean, trust me, I got your back also. There's no doubt about that. But even with, it was a very, very tough decision for me when we came up with the camping ban. Now, but in hindsight, we've had a no camping ordinance with our Canton Parks for 9 years, and we've never had an issue.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm grateful that we have resources, and we do not have enough resources. I mean, we're talking about more housing. We're talking about everything that we possibly can to help the most vulnerable in our community. But and I'm grateful that there are individuals that take advantage of these resources, but you have a percentage of individuals that refuse to take advantage of these resources.
Yeah.
And there has to be a mechanism. And I want to stress, it's not about rounding people up. I told everybody, look, I am not the president of the United States. We're not rounding people up. We're not deporting people.
Yeah.
But there has to be a mechanism to encourage them and nudge them to take advantage of these resources.
Talk a little bit about, so I've been serving on a homeless task force. We've been working on a winter warming shelter. Pretty much, I think, have it locked in. If you want to talk a little bit about kind of what your vision was for that.
Well, we started that last year. The only time the city of Canton would really do a warming shelter if it got below zero, and we probably opened the Civic Center or maybe the Southeast Community Center for a couple days.
Yep.
So last year, I was very grateful that with your help and Don Ackerman's help, Can for All People, that we had a warming shelter from the beginning of December to the end of February. Now, the limit of people was 20 people. There was times where it got brutal cold out, and we want to make sure that nobody was on the street.
Yeah.
I mean, it could even be the situation where somebody's furnace goes out in their house and they have nowhere to go.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're going to have our new warming shelter at St. Paul's on East Tusk. I think we got that pretty much narrowed down, and we got, you know, had the building department, the fire department take a look and all that stuff. We went and took had the building department. We went down to Duber Elementary last week and got the green light for that. So that's going to be plan B if we have overflow. But of course, the city has plenty of buildings that we can still open a fire station. We can open other facilities if it gets extreme
cold for a couple days.
But we need to make sure that when it's cold out, that nobody is on the street, and everybody, it doesn't matter what their situation is, they have the availability to find shelter somewhere.
Yep. And that's the one thing to kind of draw a connection to Sisters of Charity Foundation was just here. So the winter warming shelter will be a combination of the city's putting in some money to pay for the staffing, and then Sisters of Charity is putting in some money to make sure that, you know, people survive the winter. You know, last winter was brutally cold for, you know, 8-10 weeks without really any breaks.
Yeah.
And this provides a thing. So Refuge Hope will be operating the staffing side of it, and then be funded through the city and Sisters of Charity. And one thing we're gonna, you know, try and increase is the service coordination piece of it, of like, hey, how do we get people that are in this emergency shelter? They're generally people that aren't accessing our normal shelter system. How do we get them connected to services? If they're interested in being housed, how do we work with them to help get them documents? You know, how do we get those wraparound supportive services to help take them from emergency walk-in shelter to hopefully the ability to be housed? And so so we're excited to be able to offer that. That's, you know, Bill is the person that's behind that. He was the driver of it initially, and, you know, has been, you know, since, I don't know, March, April, saying like, hey, we're going to do this, figure out, you know, how that's going to happen.
And there's so many positive things going on right now. I mean, you guys have your addition for your women's shelter. ICANN's got their new project off of Harbon Avenue. Had a great meeting, you know, with Robert Ford. When we talk about, you know, when you think about having a warming shelter, there's a program up in Akron, which you're aware of, and Robert Ford, where they got Akron Metro to donate a bus, and they, in conjunction with the Steelworkers Union and stuff like that, where they were able to generate some money and you know, remodel this bus to have showers, so homeless individuals can at least get a shower, get a haircut. So Robert Ford had a great meeting with Ralph Lee with SARTA.
I saw that.
And SARTA is going to be donating a couple buses. So the next step is I'm going to have a meeting with the building trades, the construction trades, where I came from, and they all got their apprenticeship programs. That maybe they could donate the labor and everything else, and I'm very excited for that.
Cool. Yeah, so we're hoping to put that into practice at the walk-in shelter this winter, that couple times a week, or at least once a week, that bus will come down. So it's a city bus that they've converted to showers, to 2 showers. So park that outside of the walk-in shelter. People that are using it will be able to get a shower that night if they're looking for help.
And I really like the idea and the model that they have up in Akron. So they've been working with the city of Akron, where they pick a specific location, and there would be a laundromat there. That, you know, they'll work it out. The city would work it out with whoever owns that laundromat. So individuals can get a shower, they can get a haircut, they can go in there and wash their clothes free of charge and stuff like that. So
and that's part of our service expansion project, is that we're adding laundry services. So it's women's shelter and then showers and laundry services. So no folds, come in, you know, drop it off, we'll wash and dry it, pick it up the next day. So, you know, that's another kind of like thing that we know that it's out there. People have difficulty washing their clothes. So being able to offer them space to, hey, come have the dignity of a clean pair of clothes. You know?
Absolutely.
So, but just, you know, thanks for all your, you know, being an advocate for, you know, taking care of people that are vulnerable, and, you know, saying like, hey, these people matter and they need our help. And, you know, we can complain about that they're in our city or whatnot, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, they're part of our community. We have to take care of them. And how do we work together to do
Yeah.
that? And
Well,
so,
and the issues that we face in this town are not Democrat or Republican issues. It's got to be about everybody.
Yeah.
It has to be about everybody.
yeah. And
So-
just, it's not an issue that's going to go away,
No.
you know, just because we know kind of what's the housing issues we're facing and what, you know, what the market is, and,
Yeah.
you know, keep, you know, try and hit as many things. The other project that's going on, if you're not aware, that it's a huge project for our city, is the Can for All People's building on West Tusk.
Yep.
You know, I can't remember how many total units there are, but, you know, that's going to be a huge, you know, deal for our city to have really great, decent housing that's
Yeah.
accessible.
And we're, you know, I'm very grateful for Can for All People. They're doing a great job.
Yep.
And also, we're going to make an aggressive push, and even conversations when we get together in our homeless task force meetings, that, you know, really identifying vacant land in the city.
Yep.
To make a huge push for housing for everybody.
Yep.
Low income, moderate income, you know, homeless. It could
Yep.
be anything.
Yep.
You know?
Awesome.
So-
Thanks for your time today, Bill.
No problem,
Appreciate
Scott.
it, man.
No, I appreciate
Thanks
everything
for
you guys
sliding us
do.
in.
That's all
I'm
good.
sure you're off to the next important meeting.
No, it's
So,
all good.
Other than sitting with some Yahoo on a bench who's been here for too long,
Yeah,
can't think straight.
It's a beautiful day. The sun's shining.
It was
Absolutely.
a little chilly last night. It
I
got down
know,
to 35.
I know.
I was like, I had the sleeping bag laid out here. Police pulled up for a second, and we're like, never mind, we're moving on.
There you go. There you go.
So,
No, but thanks, Scott.
oh, appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
Have a good one.
Yep.
All righty. All right, Aaron. I've been out here. How many hours have I been out here?
Oh my gosh, that's insane.
Yeah, let's
I didn't
see.
realize you were doing this. This is intense, dude.
I got 5 hours and 45 minutes left.
Oh,
I just
man.
can tell you right now, those last 3 hours are gonna be. It's gonna be a
Gonna be fun
pain
times.
train.
You could do it. Have you eaten? little bit?
Yeah, I had some. You would have loved it, Aaron. Actually, it would have been.
I would have been out here
last
with you.
last
I would've
night.
been out here with you.
Christy can vouch for this, because nobody was really watching from like 1 a.m. until what 4:30. But so we just had that fire going here, and because there's rarely a fire down here, it was just like people are just drawn like, oh, what are you doing having a fire? And we'd always be like, hey, like there's a live feed. Like if you don't want to be, make
So
sure you stand with your like
You should have a sign like
your
live
back.
feed in
Well, that's why we put that there. Is like because people would just show up, and then you say the live feed, they're like, oh, I don't want to talk about that. But then they'd stand around the fire, cook a hot dog, they'd start talking, and then they'd be like, I do want to talk. Can I sit on the bench? Like, sure, we can do it right here if you'd like to go to the bench, make it formal. So you are made for something like this.
I was made
Just
for it.
because you have like it's such a great for people that working in the field. I didn't think people would like really open up and share about really like what they're experiencing or and people just sat down and they're just like, yeah, here's what it's like, here's the issues, here's my own personal kind of responsibility in this. And sometimes you're just like, oh, I mean, there was a time, it was last night, a gentleman came up who I have known for a long time.
Yeah.
And we'd been trying to get him help, and he like sat down on the bench. We kind of start having a conversation, and it like turns like pretty quickly to like this like basically like a plea for help, like
Right.
and at that it got to a place where I was like, hey, you got to mute the mics. This is gone past the like conversation. This is like
This is now case management.
yeah,
Right.
and it's just like this isn't a place that people should be brought into. This is like a conversation between him and somebody that is trying to help him. And so
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, I didn't think anybody would get to that place, but then it's like, yeah, here we are, I guess.
I think that speaks to the engagement piece a lot. When you're this is how we engage. You have a long enough conversation or interaction with someone,
Yeah.
they're gonna they're gonna open up and they're gonna reveal things to you. I mean, just that rapport built in a short amount of time where they feel like I can open up. And who are people actually opening up to?
Yeah.
It's the first responders, the direct service people.
Yep.
So
Awesome. So I was saying a bunch of stuff, and you're like, "Who's this guy? Why are you saying he'd be perfect for this?" Which means I've been doing this too long that I'm forgetting all of the introduction pieces. But this is Aaron Wagster. He's from ICANN Housing.
Aaron has been working at ICANN for
It's my 8th year.
8th year. Okay,
yeah,
see?
dude. Don't think about it too much.
So Aaron runs a really kind of specific programming where he is tasked with working with unsheltered individuals. So people who are sleeping in their car, choosing to sleep outside. Lots of people that are walking up to the fire last night. Those are the people Aaron's working with. So talk a little bit about kind of what that day-to-day thing looks like. What do you love about working with that population? What makes you go crazy about that population?
Right.
Start there.
Well, I want to clarify first of all, it's not necessarily just me. It's
it's
my team. I work with Stephanie DeLong at ICANN Housing, who's primarily gets up at 6 or whatever in the morning, and she's out by 7 or so, and kind of checking areas where we know that people are experiencing homelessness frequent, and she makes those connections and will either bring them back or build that rapport to where they will come in later, and then we have a further conversation. So ICANN Housing, which has been in existence since 1988, essentially is we're interfacing with a population that is experiencing homelessness, has typically it's mental health concerns, severe mental health, and or co-occurring substance use. And those are the people that we're encountering. They're the most vulnerable, and that's who we're encountering on a day-to-day basis. And I think in terms of what you said, what I love about that population.
Yeah.
I think what I love about that population is their honesty and and that sounds funny because it's like, well, if you're doing, these other things, like, what do you mean honesty? Well, there's a transparency when people need help. They have no problem with like sharing very deep, intimate things about their past, which the everyday human being wouldn't be comfortable with sharing.
Yeah.
There's a real transparency there. If most people would be as transparent as the population that we're serving, we might be better people because we would probably heal some things and come to terms with it. But so that transparency is important. And once someone feels like you're a genuine person and you're going to do something, you're going to help them, there can be a real quick, trust relationship. But that has to be nurtured. Obviously, that doesn't apply to every person that we encounter. Sometimes there's a longer engagement, which we talked about. Engagement is really important. But once you demonstrate to someone that they can trust you and they kind of connect with that and own that, there's a lot to be done. And
talk about that, Aaron, because you kind of stressed it there, but because I've worked with you, I've seen you guys kind of out in the field doing your work. Speak a little more about that engagement piece and why that is so critical.
So,
and what it looks like, because I think people don't even know, like, what does it look like for people
when you're when people who are experiencing homelessness, and anyone really, and I'm also someone who's experienced homelessness to a degree, so there's some lived experience there. There's a lot of there's reasons for that. Usually there's trauma involved. There's a background of trauma, and so there's sometimes it could be from family, it could be from just being in that state, like in homelessness. It could be from maybe there's a DV situation that is from their past or whatever it was, abuse or whatever kind. So the engagement piece is critical because once you establish that trust relationship, you can kind of work your way into helping someone to recovery,
Mhm.
which we believe is possible both for mental health and substance use, and
ahead,
homelessness.
go on.
And homelessness.
That's right.
We believe in these things, and we've seen them. We've employed someone recently that can testify that they were in a spot where people thought it was hopeless, but now they're thriving.
I wish you'd have been here. There was this great conversation with one of the gentlemen who'd been sleeping outside. He had recovered. He was working a job, trying to get a better job. And I was like, hey, what changed for you? What made things turned it? He's like, yeah, like when I went to prison, kind of connected with God. And it was the first time I felt like I was like, oh, there's an identity there that I'm somebody, like I'm
Yeah.
an image bearer, son of God, and now I'm somebody.
Yeah.
And he's like, that changed everything for me because I thought I was a nobody, and how that worthy, like I don't know how to say it other than like worthiness feels like a word that's holy that
Yeah.
can be, but it's like recognizing their own worth is such a critical marker when we're working with people to say like, oh, I'm capable of something other than where I'm at right now.
I think
and I deserve something other than that.
that's so huge. And it's funny you should say that because I'm going in that direction because when you ask questions like, what does engagement look like?
Mm-hmm.
So for engagement to be successful, it's really about acknowledging the person, their personhood.
Yeah.
And we find that the most important thing about humanity is their personhood.
Yeah.
Their who they are, acknowledging them as a person.
Yep.
And
not as an unhoused
not as a
homelessness.
category like, oh, you're part of this population. We say those words.
Aaron, the housed person.
Even that language, like this person is a homeless person.
Yeah.
That's not their identity. They're a
Exactly,
human being
Exactly.
with feelings, thoughts, experiences, and
yes,
some of those
yes.
things, potentialities. So for engagement for us looks like this.
Yeah.
It's addressing the person because it's person first.
Yeah.
And really what this is getting at, it's really when you address the person, you treat the person with respect and kindness, compassion, and let's just say it, love.
Yeah.
Let's say that because that's what it is. When you give someone that essential ingredient, that's the recipe for trust.
Yeah.
That's immediate rapport. When we meet people, one of the first things that we do is to gain trust is to meet a need immediately. So we're meeting people. So, the other day there was some people had been kind of, they're in a situation that we had kind of been involved in, about it. And, they had been giving different resources. And for whatever reason, there was some, they stayed in this place that has been closed off to them. They can't stay there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so
we met several of them last night.
Yeah. And so you go, you drive out there and they don't know you they don't know who you are. I'm driving a big scary white van.
Yeah.
And, and like, who is this guy? But it's the interaction of like, hey, I have something for you.
Yeah.
So why are you a complete stranger giving me something that I need?
Yeah.
That's the first move to kind of going past this defensive wall of who are you? And I don't trust you. I don't know you.
Yeah.
So that act is really important. Another thing that we do is then we start, we start to key into that, what other needs need met. And we start to meet as many of those as possible. Maybe it's like, I need a birth certificate. I need I need a bus pass. I need clothing. I need food. Whatever it is, we meet those needs. And then we talk about what are your bigger goals? So we help the person.
Mm-hmm.
We treat them as a person, saying you deserve these certain inalienable rights, if you will, these essentials, and we're going to work with you to help you meet those things. If whatever it is that you're looking for, we want to help you meet those goals. And so when you have this sort of shoulder to shoulder approach. That's a phrase we like to use at ICANN. The shoulder to shoulder approach, this camaraderie. It's not just, hey, you do this, but how do we work together? It's not just us doing everything, because we can't do that. Treating a person like a person means there is partnership, there's exchange between the two individuals. That
mutual vulnerability.
It's exactly mutual vulnerability. So that really that approach is how we're getting people to kind of let down their initial defensive barriers and move forward to something. And sometimes that's a protracted period of time, and sometimes it's very short. And we also understand that this is something that Stephanie DeLong would say, every person's situation is unique. You cannot treat it the same. And it requires it might require different things from you. Now, they might be some of the same things that typically are involved, but there might be the order of that which you're addressing may be different. And what you key in on is going to be unique.
One thing that I would just say, like, I've worked directly with Aaron and his staff, and something that might be helpful if you're listening at home and you're like, what if I see somebody who I think's unsheltered? Best thing to do, call ICANN 455-9100. Just let them know, like, hey, I saw this individual there. Looks like they might need help. They'll be able to generally identify the person if you give some descriptors, like, yep, we know that person, we talked to them, or like, nope, that doesn't sound familiar. We're going to send somebody out to go check on them to make sure that at least the person has been exposed to, like, hey, do you need resources? And the reason it's critical is, like, when Stephanie goes back to a person a second time, she's already built that rapport once. There's an understanding between them, like, oh, it's the same person coming back. It's not somebody different every day to try and start a new relationship. Like, they are invested over time with lots of the same people.
And those relationships, it's funny that you should say it, when we talked about building rapport and then, kind of going past this defensive mechanism. What we find then is that these individuals, because we're treating them like people, they become like part of us kind of for life. Like, they know where help is. They know that they can trust us, even if their path takes them somewhere else. Like, even if they go to a different state and then they come back and they need help, they're coming back to us. And you know that because you have the same experience. Because they know that someone treated them like a human being.
Exactly. Which is, I do want to give a caveat, because we're talking a lot about the program, and so obviously the program that Aaron runs is an outreach program, but
Path Outreach.
Path Outreach. But they ICANN Housing is one of the most significant players in our community when it comes to housing, housing placement for individuals who are formerly homeless or experienced homelessness. So they run voucher programs for PSH. They own properties and always do such a great job. They're such great advocates in our community for this population. So I wouldn't want somebody to leave who's maybe not familiar with ICANN thinking like, oh, these are the guys that do outreach. It's like, ICANN's been in the housing game a very long time, and they are on the forefront of what it means in our community to provide permanent supportive housing and affordable housing to people in our community who have great need. And so they've been a great partner for all kinds of stuff. Lots of our clients that move from shelter to housing, go through different programs that ICANN has, and they just broke ground on the Duncan Square apartments, which is going to be some units dedicated to people that are difficult to serve. But it would be housing for them. This will be some permanent housing where they'll have some supportive services, and they just do great work in our community. And we're so lucky to have Aaron and his team as partners. And I mean, I probably call them more than anybody.
It's probably true, but I think that's just the collaborative nature of we care. When you care about people, for me, whenever I've been involved in a lot of different types of work, and my go-to is when I'm doing something, and this goes for my team as well. You're only as good as your resources, and so for me, the community, the resources that's offered, especially those in the homelessness sector, like we have to kind of band together. And Refuge of Hope has always been there with ICANN, kind of like, how can we partner? And even now, like just with, some of the dollars that were requested for like getting people who are working and they just need their first month's rent deposit, like taken care of, very successful with that. We've been referring, I think we referred like, a good many individuals, and then things like weird crisis situations where we're like, what's gonna happen, and like let's figure it out, and then we make something insane happen that was unprecedented and probably unorthodox, to be quite honest, but we make it work. We've tackled encampments together, and we're just kind of, this is a weird time in which we live. I'm not going to pretend it's not. It really is a lot of weird stuff happening in the world, tragic and otherwise. But I think the relationship that we have established is important in moving forward. Like even with our recent substance use disorder outreach program, which is kind of a supplement to our other outreach, is we're focusing more on people who have that substance use aspect that's really plaguing them. We've got a very experienced individual, Thomas Caplia, who is kind of spearheading that and has been hanging out here and connecting with people and enrolling them and getting them to treatment. So that any kind of like collaborative effort, I think, is really important. And real quick, I want to answer that last question you said. What frustrates me, I guess, the most about the population that we serve?
That's an epic memory recall going all the way back.
Sorry, I'm trying to track.
That's awesome. That's awesome. No, I appreciate that.
So I think what's most frustrating is that when we have a path set, that sometimes people make decisions, and for whatever reason, it's not even like it's not even trying to disparage anyone for making their own decisions, because we're autonomous beings, but making decisions that will harm their progress. And that happens a lot for various reasons. Sometimes it means like not showing up when something vital, critical to getting you housed and off the street, it happens, or maybe not following through with something. I think that's the most frustrating thing. It's not even that we're mad at the individual. It's like we care so much about the individual being stable and being in a safe place that when things inhibit that or protract that process, it's frustrating for us because we feel the weight. I don't think this is spoken about a lot, but there is this sort of vicarious trauma that's experienced by frontline workers, direct service workers, where we hear these terrible kinds of things.
Oh, that's interesting. I like that idea.
We hear these terrible kinds of things that happen to people. Their trauma, all their experiences, where they're sleeping outside, they're sleeping in these conditions. They don't have access to shower or whatever, immediately. There's just like what deteriorates a human being. Like when you look at them, it's like, wow, this is heavy stuff. And it's hard not to internalize that, because for me, for years, I went home and took that with me. How can I sleep in my warm bed in my home, and people are experiencing this, and there's ways to deal with that. Is that we're all on a journey. We make choices, and there's a point where you have to say, I've done what I can do today, and God has to take care of the rest. Because that's how because honestly, it causes so much anxiety when I know what the temperature is tonight. And I know that, and I've had those situations where I don't know how this person is going to survive the night, but I gave them everything I could. And it's, and from there, it's sort of like, well, God has to take care of the rest. And he does.
But still, that vicarious trauma would be interesting. I'd be fascinated to know if there's more research, because I was like, it feels like that's what people that survive are the people that figure it out on the front lines about how to compartmentalize. Is not the right word, because I don't think it's that clean, but they figure out a way to release that responsibility. Not that it changes the care, but they have to figure out a way to kind of keep moving. So anyways, I got to keep moving on, but thanks, Aaron, for coming down and
thank you,
sharing with us next year, if we do this again, I'll make sure you're on the 1 p.m.
The
to-
1 p.m.
to 4. No, I mean the 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. shift. That was the those were your people.
Oh, for sure.
Oh yeah,
For
and
sure it was.
They were everything you'd expect. It was awesome.
Maybe I'll get Stephanie to come out for like
exactly. Yeah. So thanks
Well,
so much.
thank you, sir.
Appreciate it, Aaron.
Take care. Stay warm.
Yeah, I feel like we're good now. The sun's up. I'm feeling like a little bit warm. Joanne, let's go. The OG. So next up is Joanne Carpenter is joining the bench for the first time.
I
Got a
am.
little special
Hey,
padding
everyone.
down there. Yeah, so those of you who've been around, Joanne and I, the band is back together here for a few minutes.
Here we are.
So yeah, I've spent the morning, just to do a little recap if you're just joining us, spent most of the morning kind of highlighting some partners in our community that are doing really good work, from the service end and foundation end funding. And they're great partners, love them. It's not that, but also want to take some time because, the Refuge Hope doesn't take any federal funding for the most part, a little bit here and there, but every year there's a team of people that are responsible for raising the funds of the Refuge of Hope, which is, no small task anymore. Not that it ever was a small task, but it becomes a bigger challenge all the time. And Joanne and her team are always leading the way. And Joanne and I have been here for 16 years together. And so, yeah, just share a little bit, Joanne, about, I would love for people just to hear, like, what your role is, but also then, like, why your heart's still so connected to what we do and how that translates into, like, your role in development.
Okay. Well, congratulations for hanging in this long, Scott.
That's right.
Okay, I've been watching.
I only yawned once so far. It was at like 4 a.m. I was like, oh.
Yeah. So my role as director of development is basically to raise funds and friends for the ministry. And that is just
Hey, buddy. Hey, guys. Hey. You guys are taking over the mics. If you guys want to talk that loud, can you just step away just a second? Yeah, sorry about that.
So that's okay. So funds and friends for the ministry. And that is the financial resources that we need, the gift and kind donations that we need, and to bring awareness about Refuge of Hope and what we do. I think I'm still so involved and engaged just because I started out in the meal ministry. And I tell the story, and I mean, we were pretty financially poor at that time.
That'd be a fair assessment.
Yeah. And we have done a good job of building up our resources. I think our reputation in the community is, if we say we're going to do it, we follow up and we do it. We're true to our word. And that's with our guests, as well as the foundations, our community partners, and to our donors as well.
And I'm the only one here that can say this because I was there when it happened. And so this isn't to toot Joanne's horn or anything, but it's like part of that for like me. When I had started here, I hadn't worked in rescue missions. You were really the first person who worked at the Refuge of Hope who had any knowledge about like, hey, here's how you gain reputation in the community.
Yeah.
Here's how you deliver on what you say. And so like, even thinking all the way back to be like, what a gift it was for our organization to have you model that. And we were desperate for somebody to help us. And so when you came in and we're like, hey, you should be doing this, you should think about this in that way.
Yeah.
As we thought, you were already thinking about what we could be in 10 years. We were just thinking about getting to the end of the week, and so,
Yeah.
Kudos to you and your vision around that, because
Well, thank you.
it really has built, what's around us here, unimaginable 10 years ago,
Right.
but not incomprehensible if we think back to when we first started, had you not been able to kind of like help us see like, hey, this is what it really takes. For me, that it was super formational, just to watch you work with such purpose and like, hey, you can't think about you're just doing this one little thing. It's like you're fundraising, you're doing 10 things at the same time. And so that's how you got to think about everything.
Well, it's true. And you know what? God prepares you.
Yeah.
So if you told me 25 years ago when Refuge of Hope was first being formed that I would be working in ministry like this, I would have told you you're probably crazy. But God prepares you. And over the course of all the people that you've talked to, how many people have told you basically God did it? God brought us all here. He created this staff. He created our hearts for working with people. And because I had the opportunity to start in the meal ministry and work with people one-on-one, I've had that opportunity to build those relationships with them and then share their stories to our donors and community partners. And some of those relationships still exist today.
I mean, yeah, Yolanda sat here. She shared the story
Sure.
of like, that's just one, there's all kinds, but that's just one easy one to be like, yep, that's a straight line to like, yeah, just that entire relationship to showing up to being a job and family service workers to being, in charge of the meal ministry, something she never envisioned for herself, but you were able to see that in her. And then I was like, oh, maybe I
Right.
could do that.
Yeah.
And then, providing her the support and all that stuff. So
Yeah,
just a
so,
great example.
Really in simplified terms, everything that we do at Refuge of Hope is based on relationships.
Yeah.
Primarily our relationship with God.
Yeah.
And sharing that with everyone else, building relationships with others so they trust us.
Yeah.
I mean, Yolanda didn't trust us when we were first there.
Yeah.
Systems had let her down. She'd let herself down. Family let her down. We had to build that relationship with her.
Yeah.
And then she's carried that forward.
Yeah.
So it's all about that. It's relationships with our staff that we have. And we built those as a family. I've always called us a family.
Yeah.
I did.
Well, it would have been fascinating for, this is called whatever, Conversations on the Bench. It was the CEO, but honestly, it could have been anybody to sit here. But the one thing, and I've said it a couple times, but I didn't expect to happen was like in talking with Christy's heard all this, she's been here hearing all of it. Like the one, like probably the most powerful part for me is like hearing our staff talk about their kind of commitment to the mission and how each person has their own story and own connection, but it's just such a clear through line to be like, I'm just totally committed to the mission that Refuge of Hope is carrying out. And I've seen, with my own eyes, God do amazing things, transform people, heal people.
Absolutely.
And, coming in and seeing it, even if you only saw it once ever, like it's enough to carry you for such a long time because like, oh, I don't need to even think about like, do I have purpose in this work? It's like, oh man, I saw the purpose like firsthand, and now I'm like just totally all in.
Right.
So it's been fun to hear that and hear everyone's kind of story of how God kind of wove them to this place. And I'll tell you the story because I don't know if you heard about when he told it to me, it literally like chilled me to the like, I was like, whoa. But Manny was talking about when he first came in here. He said he had come out of prison, was working his relationship with Jesus out of, was really on fire, and showed him at the 405 building and walked in the door. And he's like, I don't even know why I said it. I was like, yeah, I'm Manny. I'm on a mission from God.
Yeah.
And he's like, when it came out, so if you know the story. And he's like, now I come to work at night. And I'm like, yeah, Manny, I'm on a mission from God.
Right.
And like the full circle moment of that is just like so pitch perfect for how people are driven by the mission here. So,
And his mission
Ready to
was
be
true
just
because
kicked
he
out,
applied
getting
for
a
a
job,
part-time
really
position in
place
the
figured
mail
it out.
ministry,
The
and that
relation
just
officer
didn't
reached
work
out
out.
to a couple
And when I
different
had the
programs, and
conversation with
Forge
him, I
was the only
said,
one that
I don't want
responded.
you to lose
At
heart
first, it felt like
because
jail
things
quite a bit,
change
but
here on a
it
regular
wasn't
basis,
very
Manny.
long.
So
The light
let's
started
continue
shining
to
through.
pray
It
about
made
it.
the
It's
difference
about
is there is a
what God's
potential
will
to
is
do
in your
something
life,
different if
His
you choose to.
timing, and how that's going to
You don't
work
have that in
out.
jail.
And I swear it was
At
like
there was a
3
heavy
weeks, a
sense
month,
of
until we were able to call him
thankfulness
back and
and
say, hey, Manny,
gratitude.
can you come in and
It's
talk to us? We
Jesus,
have an
it's God.
opportunity here
He
for
works
you.
through all them people
And
to get me where I need to
it's
go.
just been
Employment-wise,
wonderful. His heart for
I
this
ended up
ministry
being
and the
blessed
heart
with
for the men that he now
position,
serves.
welding position at ARC.
What a
Our
blessing
grant
he
company.
has
My
been. And he
supervisor
is
a
on
family
mission
was
from
leaving out
God.
over the floor. No,
Yes.
I just help out. I still work under him, but I help out the
talk.
other guys.
Sorry, I
problem
totally
solving,
sidetracked
checking
us.
blueprints, whatever
About,
needs to happen to keep the
development,
field moving.
obviously raising friends.
My verse to live by.
Funds.
I demonstrate this at work. Part of lead,
Talk a
leading
little
by
bit
example.
maybe about your staff.
It's
A bunch of
Colossians
them are going to
3:23.
come.
Do all
but
things.
talk
so you're
about
doing
you.
them
Obviously,
for the
it's
Lord.
not you don't do it all
Work at
yourself.
everything
so
with all your heart.
talk a little
That's
bit
not
about
for human
the team and
masters.
what kind of like is.
It don't matter.
So I
I'm
have
just
I have an incredible
cleaning a
team
rusty piece of metal.
that God
No
has
matter what I'm
brought
doing, no
together
matter if I'm
here,
sweeping the floor.
and
tell myself
they
I'm sweeping
all
Jesus'
have
floor.
their areas of expertise and responsibility. Chrissy and I have worked together the longest, but again, God was working
Now that I've
on
graduated
me,
the
on
Forge,
her. I needed help. I was the only one in my department, and we had just completed the campaign for this building. And I remember when I said, "Hey, I need help," and I was
That is
told,
such a wild idea when
I
you
know.
say that now.
I
We
would-
just
yeah.
completed this capital campaign with one person.
Yeah, and I was told that well, if we hadn't just run a capital campaign, we could hire somebody. And my comment was no, because we just ran a capital campaign and now we have to raise operations.
Yeah.
I need help.
Yep.
I can no longer do this. And Christy was at a point in her life where she was ready to make a change and she was just a perfect fit.
Yep.
And we talk about Nancy and contracting and writing grants for us, and then being the next fit in there. Beth, our events coordinator, was looking for something, and we popped up in a search engine, and we were searching for an events coordinator. These are not coincidences. Lucia coming back and having the opportunity to work with her again, the staff at the clothing ministry. I mean, it just goes on and on. About the team and the strength and understanding how everything that we do involves sharing that information with our donors. And the more information they have, the more engaged and involved that they want to be. There are still people that really don't know who we are and what we do. I have a lot more work to do. My team has a lot more work to do. And
Don't
but
talk
we're
to that
doing it.
Christy right now. She's like, I've been working for almost 24 hours.
She's tired. But really, as our
And when? 8 minutes.
okay, our director of community relations, I mean, she is out involved not just with our churches and civic organizations and schools, but she's out there all the time. So these relationships are important. This team is so important.
Yeah.
And as we grow, not one person can do it all.
And I mean, I think that's one thing probably, I know you would say this too, is like, you know, obviously we have really talented people that work really hard and are following best practices and, you know, but, you know, and we've said this, you know, people sat here and was like, oh, Refuge did this for me. And we're always like, I mean, like, yeah, we were the hands and feet, but like, it's really just like, this is what God did. Like,
Yes.
we were here, we participated in that, but really like this whole thing and, you know, in fundraising and development, you know, it's, you know, yeah, we worked hard, but like none of this is possible without God blessing it and then our community joining us kind of in that desire to care for our neighbors in need in the most dignified way we can.
Well, no, that's true. And when you stop and think about it, we've done a lot of hard work. We absolutely, every day we do a lot of praying. We rely on God's help. But the person, the people, who have done the hardest work are the person who are now on the other side of poverty, on the other side of their addiction. So we work hard to provide the resources, but when you stop and think about it, to recover from all of that, to make something of your life again, like when Dwayne emailed in or communicated earlier about those white eggplant. They were white eggplants. And Yolanda came to me and she said, what are we going to do with these eggplants? And it's like, let's look up recipes. And it's like, make eggplant ratatouille and eggplant. So we had so much fun with it, gave it away, gave recipes to people to take. But he did the hardest work. And God did an amazing work through him.
Yeah. It's honestly, sounded kind of like a crazy idea. And I didn't really know what to expect. To be honest, I had pretty low expectations. Just like, I don't know if anybody will sit there. Will it work? Will people share? Will inform people? And then, about 2 hours in, it's like, oh yeah, this is gonna work. People are gonna sit down and share, and it's really gonna bring stuff up. And so, none of this, happens. I'm the person that sits on the bench today, but to be honest, it could be anybody that, works here who's, people who use our facility trust our staff. And so it's been fun felt like a privilege to get to be the one to sit here and, just thinking about, all the stories. Like, I was not expecting former clients to like chime in the comments of like, hey,
I think that's great. I was watching that. Yeah.
Like what? I assumed like nobody's gonna watch this thing, and then also just like, chances for people that are here to say like, hey, this was like, here's my story and here's why it's important to me. And like, if the refuge wasn't here, I don't know what that story would mean, but because it's here, this is what it looks like, so it's just been like such a joy to share. And, hopefully it helps in storytelling as we, can continue to tell the story of the Refuge of Hope and the impact that it's like, hey, like you're wondering whether like people's lives have changed. It's like, so, like,
When you think about the 25 years, next year's our 25th anniversary, and we've got celebrations all throughout the year. But 25 years of serving this neighborhood, the community, the people here. So it's been a blessing. Is it about time to go to the live feed?
We're gonna be just so people know, like we're gonna cut out to the live national feed here in the next few minutes at any moment, really. So if we break off, we're down to 3 minutes. So we're gonna break off. But I've been asking people this. Would love to hear your thoughts as well about like, I say when I started, I assumed I was going to come down here and change a bunch of people's lives, and it's going to be great. And it didn't take me but a couple of weeks to be like, oh man, I'm the one that's being transformed by so much of the work. Would love to just hear your thoughts of like, what about your work over the course of in rescue missions, 20 plus years? Like, what are the ways in which you're like, yep, this is how it changed me. This is how it formed me.
Oh gosh. Understanding that we are all the same, we were all created the same, and that the choices that we make in our lives really and truly affect who we are. I could have chosen to not follow God's will. I could have chosen not to get into ministry. I could have stayed in the corporate world. I could have made all of those choices. But the impact that the people that we serve make in your life every single day. I'm here trying to bless others by the work that I do. And every day we leave blessed by something one of our guests, one of our residents has said or done that blesses us, that just keeps us coming back every single day. I'm reminded of the story of Jonathan and Josh. Father and son who were staying in the shelter, didn't realize it. And we had a meeting with them, not knowing how that was going to go, because their relationship ended years ago badly. And at the end of the conversation, They walked out. I'll never forget this. They walked out, their arms around each other's shoulders, gone to McDonald's to have a cup of coffee and catch up. Once they realized they were father and son both staying there.
Yeah.
And they had that conversation in a way that they went.
Yeah.
How touching and moving was that story?
Yeah. There are so many like unbelievable stories. Like sometimes you forget all of them. I'm like, yeah, I almost forgot that story happened,
Right.
at some point. So we're down to a minute. So just so people are aware, we're going to be cutting out at any moment. So we'll be back, and it'll probably be back a live feed here in about 20 minutes. And we'll be getting ready to open up for lunch. So try and highlight some client stories here in the next couple hours. Thanks, Joanne.
You're welcome. My pleasure. Thanks for doing this. My gosh.
Yeah, it's been.
You're.
I was like the last 3 hours. I can feel myself getting tired. It's hard to focus. That's I feel like the hardest. Like it's easier to listen 2 hours ago. Now it feels like I'm like, oh my God, I have to really yeah, for real. It's like, well, it's just hard not to like lose your. Have you had food? Yeah, I had. I I don't know. Christy probably said, because you haven't really moved, I'm not really that hungry. I wouldn't say that I'm like, oh, I'm hungry for something,
But your body needs that to keep you going.
Mickey, did you see what Mickey just texted? Did you get the live feed? She's like, I'm obsessed with these interviews. I had to force myself to turn it off and get a shower for Ted to be a tad bit productive. Such an incredible witness for the refuge. Get some rest next week. We have time. Let's have lunch and talk about what I can do to help.
Oh, bless her heart.
Mr. Young. So when he said that, I'm like, oh my goodness, our families hung out together.
She was telling me. Yeah, she was kind of fragile. So I need to take pictures of this before
Pictures of
the street and the striping.
Hey, everybody, welcome. It's great to be able to continue our national live stream, and great to be as we move into hour 19. So it is the countdown. And for those of you on the East Coast, you've been up a lot longer than us on the West Coast, but it's a real privilege to be able to welcome our Commissioner Merle Heatwole, who is the national commander of the Salvation Army in the United States. And Merle, good to have you as a live conversation as part of our Conversations on a Bench. We've had 70 ministries that have been going for the last 19 hours, and it's been kind of great here in Mission Control as we're at the Fresno Mission in Fresno, California, to kind of do a live look-ins to what conversations have been like. And they've been everything from having conversations with folks that have been through our programs or who are on the staff of our ministries to local officials and educators and other nonprofit leaders. And really appreciate your willingness, Merle, to just be a part of this conversation, knowing the partnership and ministry that we have and how significant that is. So thanks for being with us.
Well, thank you very much, Tom. It's a privilege to be a part of this, and I salute you and your team for all that you're doing through a 24-hour event like this. Is not easy to pull off. So congratulations on what has gone very well so far, and hopefully the finish just as excellent as it's been to this point.
Yeah, I hope so. Hope so too. Well, know that you've been in your role for about the last 6 or 7 months, and we got to meet each other just really recently after you came into that position. And it'd be great, I think, for some of our folks in Citygate Network to hear a little bit about your background and how you kind of got into your position, and maybe a little bit about what you hope in serving in that role as you stepped in for Ken Hodder now.
Sure. Well, I was more or less born into the Salvation Army. My parents were Salvation Army officers, and my wife's parents were also Salvation Army officers. So we both grew up being a part of the Salvation Army's ministry, primarily in the Midwest. I was born in Kansas, she was born in Nebraska, that our parents were always in the Midwest region of the country. And then since we've been Salvation Army officers, that we have served primarily in the Midwest, but then have had the opportunity to expand our vision over the last few years. That we started out as when we became Salvation Army officers ourselves, which was 41 years ago now, that we had the opportunity to serve in 3 different communities, one in Minnesota, one in Illinois, and one in Kansas as our what we would term core officers, which would be the pastor of the local congregation and overseeing the Salvation Army's ministries in that particular community. So we had that ground level opportunity to really develop in that area. And then after that have served in multiple, what we call divisional headquarters, which would usually serve 1 to 2 states, regions. And then also on our territorial headquarters in the Chicago area that oversees the 11 central states. Then we had one previous opportunity to be here at our national headquarters in Alexandria, Virginia, for a relatively short time before we were then appointed to be on the staff at our international headquarters in London, England. So we spent 5 years in London, England, and during that time we had the first 2.5 years were focused on overseeing the work of the Salvation Army in North and South America and in the Caribbean. And then the last 2.5 years, I served as the International Secretary for Business Administration and really had opportunity to travel all around the world to see the Salvation Army's impact in many different places. Salvation Army is currently serving in 134 countries, and I've had the privilege to actually visit 52 of those countries. So it was quite an opportunity to see what's happening all around the world from a Salvation Army ministry standpoint. And then the last 4.5 years before coming back to the United States, my wife and I served as the territorial leaders for our Latin American North Territory, which includes 10 separate Latin American countries, including Cuba and Dominican Republic in the Caribbean, everything from Guatemala south to Panama in Central America, and then Colombia and Venezuela in South America. So that, again, was a real eye-opening opportunity and just to see how God is moving in those various countries.
Yeah, that's wonderful, and to really see, I think the broad base of experience that you bring from obviously the international side of that to certainly the headquarters in Britain to throughout the U.S. And I love that Latin America piece, and maybe we'll come back and touch around that as well. One of the things, Merle, that we connect around is really your adult rehabilitation centers, and knowing that that's a place where you often provide addiction recovery programs and different kinds of things like that. What are you seeing from the Salvation Army side with regard to addiction recovery and homelessness and mental health these days?
Well, one of the things that we have always been actively involved in is being a part of the whole continuum of care process, that we have certain isolated centers that actually do addiction services, where then once somebody has been through those types of services, we then have our adult rehabilitation centers, which give people not just dealing with substance abuse disorders, but also in many other situations, the opportunity just to get back on their feet, to have the kind of support that will give them opportunities for counseling, give them opportunities for work therapy, give them opportunities to really develop life skills that they may have lost along the way, and to reunite them with families and get them able to go back into society and find good working jobs. And we've just seen some real tremendous results from that. And one of the results that is always very encouraging is when you see a life transformed
Recording stopped.
I'm not sure.
You're good. Keep going. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
One of the things that has been very gratifying to see always, and it's a real blessing, is when you see a man or woman who's come through that adult rehabilitation program have reconnected with their faith, with their Christianity, and rededicated their lives to God and to serving others.
Recording in progress.
And one of the things that I thought would be interesting for those to see today is just a prime example of that. A man who had gone through our adult rehabilitation program, got his life back together to the point that he is now serving as a Salvation Army officer in the Kansas City area. And if we can roll the video, I think that you'll be impressed by the ministry that he's doing right now.
Great. Sounds like a great story. We'll roll the video right now.
We prep all week what we're going to do, and then Sunday happens and we just let the Holy Spirit take over.
Conventional church, you have a lot of structure. Dinner church, it is structured, but we come in, we fellowship, we sing the songs. We don't care what you look like. We don't care what you smell like. If people come in here homeless with their bags, and we go pick you up. We can come pick you up. We can pick up the women from the senior living facilities. We pick up people off the street. We're not making them feel that they have to be of a certain essence to be in the room.
The variety of people that come, they come as they are. They don't need to impress, whether, their hygiene's a little off or whatever, wherever they're at, we meet them and get to serve them a hot meal, share a message, prayer request, let them get some hygiene, food pantry. So it's a great thing to be a part of. It changes my life every Sunday.
Me and my friend were walking down the street and we seen Lieutenant Donald taking all this stuff in the building. We asked him, "What is that?" And he said, "I'm trying to set up a thing called dinner church for, people around the neighborhood together and talk about God." So we went inside. I've been going since day one. I haven't missed a Sunday. I love it. I love the worship that he gives. I love the songs. And when I leave there, I feel great. So I keep coming back.
My name is Lieutenant Donald Cooper, and I'm currently stationed in Kansas City at the Prospect Corps. Dinner Church is a fresh expression of what the Holy Spirit can do during church. Hospitality has been our biggest hook in being here. The music is on, the coffee's hot, the food is good, the space is decorated beautifully, and all that so that it can be the hook, so that they can be introduced into a relationship with Jesus Christ.
I don't think I would go to a regular church. I would love to come to a place like this where nobody's judging. It feels like family. Come as you are. When you leave here, you leave not only full and spiritual full. He's welcoming you to the pantry if you need anything. If you need a clean shirt, come on over. He's just he's loving, and it's like this was what he was made to do.
That first night we had 20 people. We gave hygiene, we gave food, we sat around the tables. I told my story about how I was lost in the streets and how I was an addict for 10 years in and out of the prison systems, incarcerated, but look what God has done in my life. Because attendees were heavily people that were from that community of unhoused and addicts, it really hit home for them.
I didn't feel like I had a place I truly belong until I started going to dinner church, because I had a lot of things going on. And when I talk to Lieutenant, it builds my strength back up, because sometimes I question, which I shouldn't. And I don't think I will make it without being able to talk to him or our dinner church, for real, because they are my family. So it's helped me a lot.
To hear prayer requests at the end of the night, people begging, "Lord, please deliver me from my addictions. Crying out to God about getting out of relationships that are physically abusive. Crying out for cures for diseases and violence, people who have lost their sons and daughters to the gun violence in this community. To hear people who were unwelcome in Sunday morning church, who accidentally found church on a Sunday night,
Recording stopped.
crying out to God again. I can't put words to it. To remember the place that God found me. And then to be a part of someone's journey where God finds them. I cry a lot. On the way to work, I cry. When I go home, I cry because I'm so thankful that one, God did not hold my past against me. But two, that He has used everything that I've ever been through to move people out of their circumstances. And sometimes I still don't believe it. It's more than I could have ever hoped, dreamed, or imagined. God's plan for me. And then to be able to witness God doing the same thing over and over again, I know that I'm experiencing revival. I know that in hearts, not in a building, not in a program. We experience revival in hearts, sitting around dinner church tables.
Thanks so much for sharing that that video, Merle. That was a touching story, a great story of transformation, and an incredibly innovative ministry idea around dinner church. And just love being able to create spaces like that that are able to embrace community for people who might not otherwise get it. And I think that that's certainly part of what the Salvation Army is about, and certainly one of the things that we try to do at Citygate Network as well. And when I was talking with some of the leaders at the U.S. Interagency Center around homelessness, they talked about between the Salvation Army and Citygate Network, we really have about 70% of all of the shelter beds in the United States. And I look at our relationship and connection in that way around how we live out our faith. Also, that we both have connected roots coming out of England with the booths with the Salvation Army. And as we look at the multiple connections and how we're trying to do what we do, and now we've actually had a memorandum, an official memorandum of understanding where we're working together. What might be your hope in being able to partner into the future as we journey together, Merle?
Well, I think my hope is always that between the two organizations that we can have the kind of impact that we saw in the life of Lieutenant Donald Cooper. I mean, if you saw those before and after pictures, you know that that is not just an isolated event, but it's through our work that our volunteers, our staff people do on a daily basis that lives are being transformed. And I think anything that we can do to work together to make sure that the needs are being met in all of the communities where we serve. Obviously, that no one organization can do everything. And so it's so much better when we can collaborate and work together to accomplish what God wants to accomplish through our ministries. And if that's finding ways to collaborate on different projects that will benefit those that we serve, finding ways that we can support each other through prayer and just in sharing some of the struggles that naturally arise as a part of that. And then one of the things that I think that has been a real opportunity for both our organizations as well as the Teen Adult Challenge, is the study that we're working on to try to provide some, I guess, scientific evidence of the impact that we're making on people's lives and how much more effective it is when it's based on a relationship with Jesus Christ and has that faith component to it. That I think if we can share that message with the world, that they can also help to understand how important it is to support ministries such as ours.
Absolutely. And I'm looking forward to seeing what some of the results bring and yield from the questions that are asked that we kind of invite people to participate in moving forward. And I do believe that we're going to find both faith-based and evidence-based data to support the process and the ways that we invite people into recovery, and through the power of the Holy Spirit being able to overcome addictions and see that happen. But want to officially welcome you into your role, Merle, and I look forward to a greater and greater friendship together, both on a personal level, but certainly between the Salvation Army and City Gate Network, knowing that really how we live out our faith, how we share the love of Christ in tangible and relevant ways really is salt and light in our hurting world. And so thanks for taking the time for this conversation on this bench, and for being a partner in ministry as we live out our faith faithfully for God's glory. Blessings, Merle. Thanks.
Thank you very much. And God bless you and your ministry as well. And I look forward to us continuing to work together into the future.
All right. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay. Hey, Kate, can you see me and hear me?
Yes, Tom, I'm so sorry.
Not a problem. Hey,
I'm,
welcome. Good to
thank
have
you.
you here, and great to have you part of Conversations on a Bench. We'll jump right into it if that's all right.
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
Good deal. Hey, good deal. Yeah, you're live streaming on our national feed
Great.
on Facebook, and we've had 70 missions and ministries that have been in conversation for over 19 hours
Wow.
at each of their sites throughout the country, and it has been awesome. So I'm in missions control here in Fresno, so not too far away from where you're at, and able to kind of do live look-ins. And it's been great to have CEOs sitting on a bench, having conversations, talking about a little bit about certainly their ministries and the impact of their ministries. But in addition to that, they've been able to kind of have conversations with folks that have been through their programs, staff maybe even that have been through their programs and now are working on in their mission or in their ministry. Additionally, elected officials and leaders and different things that way, which has been great. Other nonprofit leaders. And one of the things I think I've appreciated is saying that some of these conversations without kind of this space or venue actually wouldn't have taken place, and that it is
Tom, I'm not hearing you just for a second.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Great. That we can kind of lean into in the future and be able to go from there. And I just finished a conversation like this, a live interview with the National Commander of the Salvation Army, Commissioner Merle Heatwall, and it was great that kind of like our partnership with Harvard, we have an MOU with Adult and Teen Challenge and Salvation Army around addiction recovery, and are excited about that. And for those of you that maybe are watching that don't know, Kate was part of our annual conference and came and shared in Phoenix with us in May, and then again at the CEO Summit in talking more about this topic,
I lost you again, Tom. Might just be me.
How about now? Can you hear me
There
now?
you go. Yep.
There we go. Yeah,
Okay.
jumping in and out. Apologize for that.
Problem.
So the first question that I kind of have, Kate, as we talk about flourishing and maybe thinking about flourishing is a very high hurdle for those that are experiencing homelessness. And my question is it realistic to think about people experiencing homelessness to actually be able to flourish, or that's something they can work to or aspire? If you were to put that in context for us, what does that look like?
Oh, that's a really great and a very hard question to answer.
Yeah.
You know, we think that all people can flourish. When we talk about flourishing, we say that it's all aspects of a person's life going well, including the context where that person lives. So for someone experiencing homelessness, of course, you would say, in many ways, they're likely not flourishing in very meaningful ways. They don't have a home. They don't have regular food. They might have severed relationships in their life. And all of those things can set a person back. But we would also say the way that we study flourishing has 6 domains. So we think about it as broken into 6 pieces. We wouldn't say that that's all there is to flourishing, but it's a starting point in the conversation. So it includes things like happiness and life satisfaction, meaning and purpose, character and virtue, physical and mental health, close social relationships, and material and financial stability. And you could imagine in each one of those domains with someone experiencing homelessness, a way that they can take a step forward. For example, finding a sense of meaning in their life or a sense of purpose. What is their why, and how can they move towards that why? Reconnecting maybe with relationships that are close, that have been severed or harmed in some way. Fixing those pieces or addressing those pieces, of course, wouldn't say, and now they're flourishing, but it helps move people forward. And I think the framework also just helps us think a little bit more broadly about what it means to be human and how we can support people in different ways in those different domains of flourishing. and maybe think through it as a way of meeting people where they're at. What is the domain in their life that they're most able to think about today, and helping them take that next step. And I think CityGate does that so beautifully.
I love that. And the fact is that, again, as you define what flourishing looks like, that just about anybody has the potential to begin to live into those domains more deeply and more effectively, and to have that greater sense of flourishing in what they're experiencing in their life, maybe not even dependent on some of the conditions that that surround them or that they're a part of in some way.
Yeah, and we would think about this as a both and. It's like to attend to one is not to attend to the other. It's
Yeah.
just that there's many ways that we can be attending to one another as we work to, make where we're living better. Or these are things that can happen in concert with one another. But the attending to the individual, there's always opportunity to do that, even as we think through, well, what structures will they move into, and what are the systems they're going to be involved in, and so I think it's hopeful in that sense. It's not a zero sum about where we direct our energy.
Yeah, and you kind of went where my next question is. Then maybe a little bit for some of our mission leaders and our missions themselves, as they think about structure and function. Are there certain things maybe that they can be doing that would help? Help people to be able to flourish more, or be able to get on a track that would take them that direction in a way that would be beneficial or effective for them?
Yeah, well, we talked a lot about in the program, like which of the domains might be most important, and we don't have a perfect answer for that.
Yeah.
I will say, I think one thing that that the missions have an opportunity to do that is unique is fostering close social relationships, really building human to human connection. And that's not a need just for our friends that are living on the streets. That's a need for all of us to have deep social connection with another human being. And many people who are in very difficult spots in life have lost someone they love. They have a feeling of loss. And I think that places like these missions that are a concrete place with real human beings can be an opportunity to make that close social relationship, and then use some of the momentum there to attend to those other things. It isn't always easy to ask a person, like, what's your why, when you first meet them, but as you get to know them, those kinds of conversations have more space. And then you can maybe talk about, well, how's your mental health, and how's your physical health? And sometimes we start there, and that's great. But I think the missions have a unique opportunity to really attend to the relational aspect that is such an important part of what it means to be human.
Yeah, and I think that's so central, again, to folks that we serve and love and relate to, is that they have burned through their social safety net. They have, in a lot of ways, abused their relationships. They have very few left. And what we're able to do, I think, within our missions and ministries are help them learn how to have relationship again, and the value of that relationship, and how that is kind of a stepping stone or a starting point to be able to move toward flourishing. So thanks for that. That's really helpful and definitely relevant, I think, in our situations. Maybe give us a little bit, maybe a left turn here, but a lot of your work as a researcher at Harvard is also around spirituality and faith and health. And certainly we know that those experiencing homelessness do have health challenges, especially living on the street and different kinds of things that way. How does that faith, spirituality, and health thing connect, and how might that apply within our contexts?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, there's a lot of different ways you can study religion and spirituality. Is it someone who just believes in God? Is it someone who calls themselves a certain religion? What we have found in the research of our program and of the School of Public Health and the School of Medicine as well, is that it's religious community participation. It's participating in specifically religious community that seems to have the biggest impact on physical health and mental health over time. And I think that that's a really hopeful thing, because it's concrete in a way. It's not so abstract. It's a thing. It's a place. It's an action people can take. And I think that all people have a sense of spirituality. And so for those who come from maybe a faith background, that can be good news to hear that participating in your religious community, maybe going back to church, can be a way of taking a step forward for your spiritual health, yes, but also for your mental health or your physical health. And a lot of these studies are done with really big sample sizes, really big populations. So when we talk about religious community being a win, that's on the whole. Those are on averages. Of course, we know that in all of our lives, there's nuance. Maybe someone's been hurt in those contexts and we have to attend to that. But on average, when people engage in communities of faith, they see some really beautiful things unfold in their life. And so I think that for anyone who comes from a faith background, that's not initially a shocking finding, but if you sit with it for a minute, you're like, oh, it is actually interesting that even that science can see things like that. And then for folks who don't come from a spiritual background, I think it's a place of pause to say, maybe there are ways to encourage people on their path of faith or on their spirituality. And that's a concrete way or a concrete action people can take, including those who don't have homes. And, I think there are many congregations around the U.S. that would be very glad to see our friends and neighbors who don't have homes come and worship together.
Yeah, I love that, Kate, because it really does bring such incredible alignment to really the assumptions and the faith we bring to our work, which basically says we think that faith-based addiction recovery, for example, actually can be more effective. And there is an evidence base for that in helping people be able to experience freedom and greater health rather than the addictions that oftentimes control them in such significant ways. And I think that gives us a sense of openness and hope for how we continue to engage, knowing that probably there's a scientific rationale as well as a spiritual rationale for what it is we're trying to do and accomplish. Yeah, good. I know, and maybe the last question to throw it out there is kind of out of that. We do have a vision to be able to partner together, and with Citygate Network and Harvard, and talk a little bit about some of the hopes maybe around that and what we're looking toward the future to be able to do on this journey that kind of together.
Yeah, I'm happy to. As I've been studying faith-based organizations and thinking about how do you understand the impact of faith-based organizations, how do you write about that? In the scientific community, some of that, the evidence of impact, the evidence of who you are and what you do and the impacts you have on people's lives has to kind of show up in a certain way to be a part of a broader conversation. And in my earlier work, I actually did not know about Citygate as well. And so it's been a joy over the last year. I knew about my local mission, Bay Area Rescue Mission, but I didn't know that it was a network of missions that were all connected. And when I found that out, I was just so excited. And I thought, I need to learn more about Citygate and what they do. And so, as our conversations have unfolded, it's kind of a two-pronged hope. One is to help Citygate do some work that would allow it to tell its story and understand its impact in slightly more empirical terms so that it can share its story and understand itself with more clarity. And then the second part of that is thinking through how could something like a flourishing framework take it to the next level. So it's not only reporting on number of people served or, transition to housing or those very important metrics that are, kind of essential to talk about, but more so what kind of path unfolds in people's lives when they engage with Citygate, and where, thinking about just the flourishing framework, which of those domains does Citygate, are they able to impact in the greatest way, and how can they then partner with others who have impact in other ways? So this is just an opportunity, I think, to join the direction you're already on and do what we can to support that and also understand it with more clarity. So that Citygate can grow, but also so that it can be in deeper dialogue with many others who care deeply about serving those who are homeless.
Yeah, well, I really love that and appreciate it, and I'm excited about the new partnership together and what that's going to do, and being able to integrate some of those things, I think, in a significant way, and being able to have some empirical evidence and also some data that really show how as we've been doing this for now almost over 120 years, that really the effectiveness of what we do really can be understood, I think, in a secular context as well as in a faith-based context, and how important that's going to be. So thanks so much for being willing to have this conversation. We're appreciative that way. And I think we have Dr. Ko lined up in a little bit as well. So excited for that and looking forward to that. But just appreciate just the relationship, Kate, and what you've been able to share with our folks to this point. And know that's only going to continue to help us as we really do try to put the love of Christ into action in ways that make a tangible and relevant difference.
Great. Well, thank you, Tom, and thanks for including me this morning. And I just love what's happening.
Good deal. Well, appreciate being part of Conversations on a Bench. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks so much.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Seriously, that Dwayne Sanchez is